knew it wasn't gonna make too much of a difference, but I still would rather fill it out and put it in a black box myself.
Yeah.
Instead
What
of
was the
putting it in a Dropbox.
percentage of red and blue?
At the moment, last I checked,
Are they still counting?
They're still counting.
No
They have
way.
some. So what happens is we have some ballots that are stuck in the mail system. So once those are, as long as they're post stamped by midnight on election day, they'll count.
Okay.
I don't agree with that because the polls close at 8. So
Yeah.
you should be post.
You had enough time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with that, but that's how it goes. So they're gonna still have votes tomorrow. Ballots that they're gonna be counting tomorrow. From what I was listening to, Mayor-elect Cici Gallegos, she's still waiting to hear a couple of the final votes. But we were 58% Kamala and
Madera?
overall California.
Oh, okay.
But Madera itself was majority Trump. I think it was like almost 60%.
St. Joachim's went to go vote.
Oh, finally.
Yeah.
Finally. I think it's a lot of people in Central Valley are just done with the Democrats and how it's running. We're feeling it more here in California because we have a Democrat governor, a Democrat supermajority in the state assembly and state senate. So you have this Democrat strangle on California.
Yeah.
We can really say Democrat policy isn't working for us at all. It's taking care of the people on the coastline just nice. They're fine. But the people here in the Central Valley, the working class, are not surviving.
Yeah.
And so we saw that and we were like, let's go with Trump. And I think that's going to start to show up in our next governor's election, which is in 2 years. I really think we're going to see a tighter race than we've ever seen.
I think so too.
Because Newsom can't run anymore. He's termed out. So the likely option is his lieutenant governor.
Was he just like Newsom or
She? I think she's
well,
a little...
who knows in this state? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. I haven't actually heard too much from her because Newsom's so much at the head of things. We don't really hear from the lieutenant governor as much.
Right.
But I do remember, I want to say she was a U.S. ambassador to Greece. And then we're going to have some Republicans got to come up kind of out of nowhere. We really don't have any Republican people that aren't already in office. I did hear about Bigelow. He's from Madera. Bigelow's going to run for lieutenant governor.
I don't know any of these people.
So Bigelow was...
I'm so bad with the politics that happen and that affect me the most.
It's crazy because, like, Bigelow is a local assemblyman. That's weird.
Apparently, Bigelow sounds like
Bigelow
Google.
sounds like Google, huh?
Yeah.
Bigelow was actually your county supervisor here in Madera. Go back to about 2010. He was District 1's supervisor, if I'm not mistaken. District 1 is where I live. And he was not very good. He did not represent the people very well. He tried to put a prison by Millview.
Whoa. Oh, wait. I think I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. So he was the one pushing for it. The minute he started pushing for it and people started disliking him, he was like, I'm running for a different office away from there.
By the way, Millview's an elementary school.
Yeah, Millview's an elementary school on the west side. No, east side of Madera. So Bigelow ran for state assembly member. He got that. And he stayed as assembly member for, I want to say it was 6 years. He might even still be assembly member. But I was watching his votes, and he was staying quiet a lot. He wouldn't vote. He would abstain from voting. That's not what you want from your assembly member. Your voice isn't being heard at that point.
Yeah.
He was failing us. And now he wants to run for lieutenant governor. And no one really wants that. I don't want Bigelow.
What does the lieutenant governor do?
That's pretty much your vice president.
Oh, okay.
That type of vice president role, but in the state.
Gotcha.
I know another guy that's running for a position pretty well is... he was running last year, 2 years ago, and he was running for a state Congress. And he was actually our friend. I don't know if you guys remember Alfredo Miranda.
No.
He was at men's group a couple times, but
wait, yeah.
Yes.
Glasses? He always had his arms crossed?
Yeah. So he's
over?
actually part of it, his campaign.
Yeah, I remember.
Giglio.
Giglio.
His name was Giglio. Giglio was running for Congress, and he lost.
No way.
Yes, but now Giglio wants to run again, and he wants to run, I think, actually for a higher place, not just Congress. But I like Giglio. My problem was he wasn't out there enough. We didn't hear enough from him, and that's
usually our biggest downfall as our side, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, Joanna Rose Garcia was running against Esmeralda Soria. Beat her in the primary by a lot. But she did not push herself enough this year.
And we're going for Joanna?
We're going for Joanna.
Okay.
Joanna is, yeah. I'm sorry, I got to fill you in. Yeah. Joanna is a Republican. She was an auditor for her husband's agricultural company. And she decided to run for government because during COVID, she saw how bad Sacramento was screwing farmers with their government policies. policies. They were taking a lot of taxes. Farmers here in California had to take a lot of their crops and actually give it to the government, and that's where you get your fruits for schools.
Oh,
is from these farmers that had to give it away.
It's a tax write-off for them, though, right?
Not exactly.
Really?
No, they still get taxed, but
well, yeah, but it's a write-off from the tax.
It's more of like, oh, we let you farm here, you give us free food.
Whoa.
More like that.
Even though they own the land, they buy the fertilizer, they buy the.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So she did not like that. She became an auditor for her husband's company. Saw all the stuff happening through the books, didn't agree with it, and decided to run for assembly member.
Yeah.
And she was going against Esmeralda Soria. Esmeralda's been in office for 2 years. She came into office right around the time the hospital started closing.
This one.
Yes.
The Madero one.
And so she was like really running with this. I got the hospital of 50, I think it was 500. There was a 5 in there, some big number of a loan, but it wasn't a grant. It wasn't like a bailout. It was a loan. So the hospital would still have to pay it back.
Probably with interest too, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. There was interest involved, and so that's not exactly something you want for a hospital that's already been struggling. Is you start off with debt.
Yeah,
that was not what we needed. She was touting it like some win. She ran against Joanna. Joanna beat her in the primaries back in, I want to say we have those in March. And everyone was surprised because you have Esmeralda, who had run with about $1.5 million, and Joanna, who only ran with about $105,000. Beat her by like 4 or 5%. And now you look at the funds for both of them. Joanna ended up raising about $1.4 million before the final election. Esmeralda had about 4.4. So Esmeralda still had her with a lot more money.
Yeah.
But Joanna decided to go out there, and she was fundraising and stuff.
I think the one that promotes themselves more is a lot better. And you know what's one thing that probably the reason I don't see a lot of local government is because I'm on social media and I'm not going to go to these places. So if they should have they should have a social media department for every government, like town hall 100%. And everything. That way, like the people are aware of it.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I'm not very pleased with Madera, how they run their government here, only because we don't know enough about it. And it's not totally their fault. A lot of the people in that office don't run social media. CC was one of the few people I saw running a social media account.
Look at where it got her, man.
It got her a lot of votes. It really did. That was something weird I wanted to bring up. So Madera is like, what, 60,000 population? I think, if you could check that for me. And when you look at how many people voted for mayor, it was just under 13,000 people.
No way.
So where's 47,000 people?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're on the other side of the tracks.
Maybe they got lost. Go ahead. What's the numbers for us?
So we went ahead and looked it up. So according to worldpopulationreview.com, Madera is a city located in Madera County, California, has a 2024 population of 68,598 people. Madera County is far greater at 162,858 people.
Whoa. Yeah, so we're 68,000 people, but last I checked, CC's the votes for mayor were only at about 13,000.
Whoa.
So you have this.
Both of them?
That was every candidate, and there was 5 candidates.
Okay.
So all the votes total for mayor were about 13,000.
How much did CC win by?
When I last checked, it was less than 100.
Whoa.
It was close.
It
was pretty close. And it's still kind of close because those ballots come in. We don't know how they're going to vote, but
so it's not official? She's not the...
Not 100%. But all the analysts, all the people who analyze elections and polls and demographics, they're saying she's probably going to win because where those ballots are coming from, that area already showed they were more likely to vote for her.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think it's disappointing because then you go and you look at how many people voted for Trump, Kamala, and voted for president. It's way more. I want to say it was above 25,000 people. So it's like they skipped the ballot just to get to the president part.
Yeah. Was the ballot the thing that I filled out that first time you sent me a list to fill out? By the way, thank you so much for that. It made it so much easier. I'm like, I felt like I was cheating on a test. I'm like, I have the answers right here and just that.
What he's referring to is my voter's guide. I made it was like 6-page voter's guide.
Yeah.
It broke down all the propositions in detail. It broke down your state assembly, your state senate, your U.S. Congress, and your U.S. Senate seats. I didn't touch the presidency. Figured enough people could.
I love the comment that you left there. It's like, you've seen enough. Vote using your best judgment.
Yeah. The presidential candidates are probably the most popular people in the world for the past, I would say year.
Dude.
Easily the most popular
Yeah.
people in the world. I mean, besides Messi, but that guy's never gonna go away.
I haven't heard of that guy.
He
I'm not on
lost.
that side of Instagram.
Yeah, I am. But yeah, so the president of Canada is so popular. There's no way you can't know anything about him.
Dude.
You have to know at least something.
Trump played it so smart by going on all these podcasts.
He really did.
It humanized them. Even with Rogan, like when I was watching it, like I felt Rogan getting annoyed with him, like after the first hour.
Because of the way he weaves.
Yeah, and he kept on explaining it. He kept on. It felt like he was avoiding questions.
A little bit.
But then,
but yeah.
like, yeah, you would see, like, he would eventually get to it, but he wanted to make a couple points to build up to, like, this
Yes.
is why.
Yeah.
But eventually, like, they really got cooking after the first
did.
hour. And, like, it was really cool. Even, whether you agreed with him or not, that was a smart move. Did you hear what happened with Kamala?
I heard all of it. Yeah.
No, like...
Well, why she didn't do it? Yeah.
yeah,
So
because...
Joe wanted to do it,
Mhm.
and Joe was willing to do it, but Kamala had stipulations, and she said you have to come to us in New York, and it's only going to be 45 minutes. Joe Rogan doesn't work like that.
Yeah, you can't. Dude, 45 minutes barely gets a conversation started.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump did an hour with Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, and they talked about cocaine.
And they talked about cocaine. I love that
Yeah.
conversation. That was so good. I was joking around with my siblings. Imagine Theo came out with a hat that says "Make cocaine great again."
He did say that.
Yeah, you can't even do cocaine in this
Dude,
country anymore.
I had no idea who JD Vance was, but I saw him with Theo, and then I saw him with Joe Rogan, and I love that guy.
Oh yeah, he's
Like,
a great guy.
I don't think it's in the public's best interest to try to impeach or murder Trump because we're gonna go harder Republican.
Yes.
if JD wins.
I think JD's, even though he's, when you listen to him, he sounds more intelligent.
he's just younger, man. He's a lot sharper.
Maybe it is. Yeah,
you know?
he's a lot sharper. He's very good at structuring his sentences, his words, and he has the conversation that many people want to avoid. I love when he talked with Rogan about psychedelics
yeah.
and how he was willing to, I'm willing to look into it
Yeah.
for the medicinal purposes. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Obviously, shrooms are there for a reason. I'm not saying everyone
Well-
needs to go out and do them.
From someone that used to do them, I mean, obviously with my faith, it doesn't align. I remember I asked Father Gustavo, why can't we do mushrooms? And he's all like, well, why do you need them? And I'm all like, okay, good point. Like,
That's a good point,
you're
right?
Just go to Christ and
Yeah.
Christ, Because my argument with mushrooms was it gave me such... Actually, I'm going to go into something deep about this. The most at peace, grateful, and love that I felt was when I was tripping on mushrooms in my house while there was a party going on. And like I was just like, man, I'm so grateful for everything. Like I love everyone around, and like overwhelming sense of peace.
Yeah.
It beat any retreat that I've been to. Like when it comes to that feeling connected to something bigger and everybody around me.
Yeah.
But one thing that Father Ripperger would talk a lot about is that Satan is really good at playing with our emotions, and they have access to our emotions.
Yeah.
So he can make something feel really good, so I can rely on that instead of relying on God. And the thing is, if I'm just, looking for that next good feeling, I'm gonna not really work to be better. I'm just gonna be going for that feeling.
Yeah.
Get that feeling again, instead of improving in areas where I need to do, which is one of the things that I hate about being Catholic. It's just like, oh, I'm never humble enough. I'm never, charitable enough. I'm never anything enough.
You're never good enough.
Yeah, dude. But I love that at the same time because there's no ceiling. There's nothing. Because, gosh, that
You can always get better.
exactly. And so for shrooms, I see the appeal. Like for the people that like to use that to get things aligned, because it also helped me with my way of thinking.
Yes.
But I mean, I don't pray much, but maybe if I prayed more, I could get. There's meditation. That's something that our faith also does. So it was just me relying on this drug for me to solve problems or feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get the same way with I smoke cigarettes sometimes. First pack of cigarette I bought, I was like, I only bought it because me and my brother were going to smoke one together. And I sat down and lit it and I smoked it and it smelled good. I'm not going to lie. The nicotine rush from a cigarette, way different from a cigar, way different from vape.
Yeah.
Hits you a lot faster.
For sure.
Didn't smoke another one for 2 weeks. And when I did it again, it was with a friend. And then I haven't smoked one since.
Yeah.
And it's just because I don't want to become reliant on that to relax, to
Yeah.
overcome stress, to overcome depression, to build better bonds with people. That I don't need to rely on that. I shouldn't rely on it. And so I have it there. I still have the pack, but I don't plan on like finishing it all off.
Yeah,
It's gonna be over slowly.
Louis C.K. had a bit on that. I'm gonna butcher it, so I'm not gonna try to say his joke. But basically, the premise was like he loves weed
Yeah,
once in a while.
exactly.
He says he doesn't want to do it every day because it's gonna be just this other thing that like, oh man, I ran out of weed.
Yeah.
like it's another problem that he added to his life for liking it so much.
It's another financial thing.
Yeah,
It starts getting expensive,
Yeah.
man. Like cigarettes aren't that expensive. I was surprised when I rang it up and it was $11. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's pretty cool. A lot cheaper than cigars.
Yeah,
but
one cigar ruins you.
when I started thinking about it, I'm like, man, there's someone who goes through a pack a day.
Yeah,
That's expensive. That's a lot of money. And no, I don't. That's not where my money needs to be. My money needs to be in better places. I have responsibilities I got to take care of. I got bills I got to pay.
Yeah.
So I'd rather put my money towards that than putting it towards stuff that makes me feel good for 25 minutes and that's it.
gotcha.
Same thing with drinking. Like I really only drink in this type of setting when I'm hanging out with friends now.
Yeah.
And even then, it's never to get a buzz or to feel drunk. It's just it tastes good.
Yeah,
And
this
that's
one's
it.
really good, right?
That one tastes amazing. Every time you have that one, I'm like, pour me one.
Yeah, bro.
Because that stuff is great. But yeah, so I think we have to look also at like the moderation aspect, right?
Yeah,
And that's a big part of it. So with the whole mushrooms thing, I do think we need to investigate how we can use that in moderation for the people who need it.
yeah. For the
PTSD. People with PTSD, they've studied it in Mexico, and people will go there, get the treatment, come back, and they're great. They're doing so much better. PTSD is such a complex disorder. It's so complex, and we really haven't found a way to combat it besides psychedelics.
Well, one thing that they do in Mexico is ayahuasca, and that's like a huge. It's like DMT.
Okay.
I've never done it, but that's the equivalent of it. It's just like this whole spiritual. I have a buddy that did it. It was like this whole spiritual thing where like you're face to face with entities and. Yeah, you
Whoa.
face things. You throw up all this badness that's inside of you. I threw up with mushrooms a couple times, so
Yeah.
I'm like, it just tastes a little gross, you know.
Okay.
And that's also like technically a poison, so your body's natural reaction is like, you know.
Chuck it.
But yeah, but you get a lot of revelations. And there's shamans there that like tell you exactly what you're seeing and guide you through it, and like it all sounds good, like because the message is like forgive, let go, move forward. Understand, love. You know, these are the common theme.
In most religions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things that happen when people do ayahuasca. I think Ron White quit drinking because he did ayahuasca once.
Okay.
You know? So same with mushrooms. You get that effect where you just completely quit an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, and if anybody's gonna do it, I'm glad it's him because he's super cautious when it comes with drugs because how he mentioned that his mom was a drug addict.
Yeah.
And how he never touched that stuff. So he's gonna be overly cautious that more
Same with
crap
Trump,
doesn't
right?
get
Yeah. So
more
Trump-
crap doesn't get into the States.
Yeah, and then they have Kennedy here, who's all about doing stuff naturally, but safely. So you have those three people who want to make sure no one gets addicted, no one gets harmed from using this, but they also want to make sure this is a more natural way that's not going to benefit the pharmaceuticals too much.
Yeah.
And it's also going to be a lot cheaper. Like, if I'm not mistaken, shrooms grow on cow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that expensive to grow stuff off cow.
Yeah.
So
I remember when I got into them, I searched up websites and like you can literally buy spores. It's outside of the country.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna put the website up. And then you can buy them and grow them yourself, and it's just fertilizer, water, and sunlight.
Yeah.
That's it.
So this is stuff that's all natural remedies that we need to explore more. And I think this presidency will help do it. He already said he's going to come out and deschedule marijuana completely. So it's no longer going to be something that can be illegal at all. I see the benefits of that. You know, maybe you'll get the same properties where you're going to have with
The
alcohol, mainly with alcohol, like there's going to be alcoholics.
Yeah.
That doesn't go away whether or not it's legal. But then you're gonna have the people who are like, "Oh, it's legal now. I'm just not gonna drink it as much." You have that kind of the human
It's not
mindset.
as fun anymore.
Yeah, it's legal. I don't have to sneak around to get it, type of thing.
Yeah.
Like I can't get pulled over. Like,
Wow. Imagine if the church made sin okay, we'll just stop sinning. No, I'm kidding.
right? Yeah, would you stop sinning? No. But I think that's one thing. That was one thing about the catechism I've always found confusing is they're so like hardcore on every type of drug, but then they talk about alcohol and tobacco and they're kind of like in moderation.
Yeah.
when you could do the same thing with alcohol and tobacco as you can with those other drugs. So I'm not saying the church needs to change its teaching. I think moderation definitely needs to be applied.
Yeah.
But I do think they need
Well,
to
and
go
also
through
the
and
reason behind it.
yes. I think they need to go through and they need to look at the language a little bit more.
Yeah.
Only because as time's gone on, things have changed medicinally, especially the way we view these drugs. It's not the same way we viewed them a long time ago. It's very different now.
Yeah. Well, also they keep coming out with crazier things, so it makes the other stuff not look so crazy.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, fentanyl's wild.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know if you heard those speeches from Trump like these last week.
I've been missing some of his speeches just because of everything that's going on.
He's going hard, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like today, this morning, I listened to it. It's this dude that reacts to it. I can't find the original one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send him to you. But
Probably on X.
He was talking about stuff. Probably. I'm not on there, though. He was saying stuff like, we need to bring prayer back to schools. Like, if a principal's, school is doing bad, fire the principal, get a new one.
Yeah.
If teachers are trying to provide anything that's not reading, history, science, arithmetic, and they try to like influence politically views or religious views on them, fire them.
If I'm not mistaken, on Truth Media, he posted that he wants to get rid of the Department of Education. He wants to get rid of the federal government's control of the Department of Education, which is great. I think it does need to go back to the states. My only concern is I live in California. I teach in California.
Yeah.
California will do some wild stuff. Well, they're already doing wild stuff now. The social studies curriculum mandates that we have to talk about LGBTQ community in the classroom.
I think
I lost those books. Just saying. Don't know where they are.
I personally think, and correct me how this would affect our views, that it should be talked about. That way we can understand it. Not necessarily like, well, if you feel like you are, you might be, so you should explore it. No, just say like there's some people that, are born this way but think they're this way. Done. You don't have to.
I would if they provided us with the training maybe. Yeah. But also, I work with second graders. These kids are 8. They can't even read yet.
Yeah, that should be like in the sex ed.
It's sex ed's in 5th grade now.
No. Oh, yeah, Mia told me.
It's young, man. And I'm sorry, but the kids in 5th grade, no.
I had it in 6th grade. I remember I had the talk
young.
with the male teacher.
That's really young.
And I was like, you're too late.
Right? Yeah. And I think that's where schools need to step back. But this is the problem. Here's the problem. Schools are they're trying to step into these roles of parenting the kids.
Yeah.
Because the parents are absent at home.
You were homeschooled, right?
I was homeschooled.
Yeah. Do you think that has any effect too?
Of what I decided? Yes.
Yeah.
I guarantee homeschooling is why my teaching style is so different.
That's what I was going to ask.
Why I get the results I've gotten in my 3 years of teaching versus other teachers who've gone to public school and all that it's immense. It's pretty big. Like, I don't want to go and toot my horn, but it's sizable and the district knows my name for a reason.
Nice, man.
And it's but I've also taken what the other teachers have told me, of course, and I implement that when I can. Whenever they give me adjustments that I need to make, I try to make them and see if they can fit in. But my style of teaching is not I'm teaching you information and remember it and that's it. It's I'm teaching you how to learn for yourself.
That's very good.
That's what my parents taught me.
That's a skill. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom couldn't teach me everything. Get to high school math, my mom's like, you're on your own. I'll show you how to look stuff up. I'll show you where to go find books that'll have information, but you got to go learn it on your own. Teaching myself calculus was one of the craziest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot. I learned how I learn, and now I need to teach my students how they learn.
Help them find their own way to how they learn. Gotcha.
But I also my job is also to help them develop independence. I don't want to be over here coddling these kids. That's not my job. I'm not their parent. And so whenever kids come up to me and they say things and they expect a certain reaction because they get it from their parents,
right?
I immediately tell them, I'm not your parents. I have had a student that was very disrespectful, very sassy attitude in class, to the point where it was actually becoming a problem with the other students. And I told the student flat out, I don't care how you speak at home. You don't speak to me in this classroom that way.
That's good.
Because I'm not your parents, and I don't want to be treated like them. And immediately a change in attitude. The breakdown in the schools is happening because the breakdown in home happened first. So when kids lost their parents at home, and I don't mean actually lost them, but like the parenting isn't happening, the school has to step in and do it. We're trained to teach social emotional skills. We're teaching kids how to behave.
Yeah.
That's not what we're supposed to do.
You're
That
supposed
was
to teach
never
them English, math.
Yeah, reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's it. That's what we're supposed to teach. Science and history as they get older, social studies. We're not supposed to teach them how to behave. That was never what teaching
Well,
was.
that's why they used to beat them, right? Not saying that we should beat them.
No.
But that was like a big reason, right? Like, you should know better by now.
Yeah, you should know better. Your parents
Yeah.
are supposed to handle this at home, but they don't. They don't. A majority of parents now, sadly, don't. Because these kids are coming from broken homes. Most of my students now come from either a split parent household or a single parent household.
Dude, my kid's one of them.
But the problem is with the ones I've had is that the parents don't know how to co-parent. So you have, instead of the kid being a source of unity where they're separated, the parents are separated, but they're working together for the kid when they need to. You have two parents who are using their kid like a battleground.
Yeah.
And it is so bad for these kids. It impacts them so bad, negatively in ways I can't even describe. And who's left to try and fix it but the teacher?
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had...
And you only get them for a year?
I get them for 180 days. Literally, it's on my contract. 180 days. But I actually spend more time with them over those 180 days than the parents do. Wow. I have them from 7:45 in the morning till 2:45. Those kids see me so much. They barely go home and see the parents. Because I have some kids that stay till 6 p.m. for after school program. Go home, parents put in bed by 8. That's 2 hours.
Yeah.
I got way more time with those kids. And that's why I don't give homework. I don't want my kids going home and spending time on paperwork when they could be spending time with their family. I feel that's way more important. My job is when they're at school to teach them, and that's it.
Yeah.
So going back to the LGBTQ community, I don't feel qualified to talk about it, no matter how I'm supposed to talk about it. I've never studied it. I've never looked into it. Frankly, I don't want to.
Isn't part of your job description you have to teach a certain curriculum that they ask you to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my religion says don't.
Whoa.
So I have to.
So what would be the thing to do? The right thing.
I pretty much what I've been doing now is social studies isn't state tested. So there's no state test to say, oh, are you teaching them these standards and stuff? So I'll teach every other standard but that one. And when the kids go, and because I'm focusing so much on reading, writing, and math, these students are performing well. They're performing very well. That's what I'm supposed to do. Parents want to talk to them about that type of stuff, they can. I had to talk about these kids about the election because there's no way to avoid it.
Yeah.
I'm asking them, okay, kids, what are you seeing on the news? Trump, Kamala, the election. My parents are voting. Okay, what do you guys think about it? Oh, I think this, I think that. And they go into detail. Some of these kids know a lot.
Yeah, dude.
They know a lot. I had one student come up to me and recite the Adam Gray commercial, and then right after recite the John Duarte. Those were the people running for California Congress. She recited both of them. Both word for word.
Verbatim,
I'm like,
huh?
why are you saying? How do you know this? I watch Hulu. I'm like, oh, they run those ads. I know those ads.
Oh man, I paid.
It's crazy. And so I
ads.
asked these students, I'm like, what do you think? And I remember asking students, like, what do you guys think about this? Oh, I'm going for Trump. I'm going for Kamala. And they actually stood by. I'm like, why are you going for it? Mm-hmm. And they'll give me a great explanation. I think one of the coolest explanations was a student who's Punjabi. Is that the correct term?
I'm not sure. Yes.
Punjabi. They're
Yeah.
Punjabi. And the student said to me, I'm going for Trump, not because he's only for the whites, but because he's for the Punjabi too. And I was like,
wow.
Whoa. Like, that's a big statement for an 8-year-old.
Well, and you also see the conversations that are happening at home.
Yes.
You know, through the interactions you have with the kids.
A lot of it.
You want more, buddy?
Yeah. Yeah, this stuff is good. But because I taught soccer at the school, some of the soccer players would come and visit me while I'm teaching class. And so they see me teaching class and they're like, hey, Mr. H, what do you think about the debate that happened last night? This was after the first debate between I think it was Kamala and Trump. So this was after that debate.
Was that when Trump's all like, they're eating the cats?
Yes, they're eating the dogs. They talked to, I was listening to the part about abortion. And these are 12-year-olds. And I'm like, that's a pretty big issue for you guys. And they said, yeah, it's a really big thing. I'm like, you're at the age where, given where the world is, you definitely need to like start doing your own research on it. I think you should talk to your parents about it. and you definitely have the right to have an opinion on this. And they're like, yeah, it was really interesting to listen to. And I was amazed at that because they are at the age where they're going to have to start learning about that. If they're already doing sex ed, having that conversation of whether or not you're okay with abortion, that has to start early on. That has to start really, really right around 12, 11, 12.
Dude. I had my first sexual encounter. I think I was 8 years old. And dude, but the thing is, that's becoming the common.
It is.
Like between 8 to like 12. Like they've already had a sexual experience.
Well, I mean, you have access to porn at your fingertips. You know,
Yeah.
you could just Google something.
Hold on.
I just recently gave a talk at church, and I had to pull up statistics about that. Yeah, you're right. The average that people, or men particularly, our first encounter with pornography is from 8 to 12.
Whoa.
Think about it. That's why men are so awkward around women, though.
I don't even read statistics, man.
But that's why these
Christian.
boys grow up to be kind of awkward around women.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way they've seen them, right? That's the main way they probably seen them, is they start seeing them like that. That ruins your perception of them. It's got to have a very negative impact.
Oh, dude, right now the dating scene is crazy, like upside down. Yeah.
Wild. But you have, and
There's
a lot
such
of
an
those.
imbalance.
There is. You have a lot of these guys too now who have finally started the whole kick porn trend, right?
Yeah.
Don't masturbate, don't do porn, don't just go lift weights, all that stuff, you know. Building yourself with your testosterone and actually embracing real masculinity.
Right.
They just don't want anything to do with women at the moment. And it's because the dating scene is so bad.
It is.
Most of these women nowadays, they want to be independent so bad, it turns away a real man. Real men don't want a truly independent woman.
I agree.
Because what the hell is our point then? What are we going to do?
Yeah,
our job is to protect and provide. If you can do that yourself, why are we here?
Yeah, I was having that conversation with a buddy. Well, I'll say it. Yeah, I won't say his name. With a buddy, and all we do is send each other our mom's cooking. And we're like, until we meet a girl that can cook like this, I'm staying single.
100%. 100%.
No, but like I know it sounds misogynistic, but at the same time, it's like, look, I'm more than happy to work as much as I can. I remember I heard a Father Ripperger talk on fatherhood and manhood, and he said, dude, it doesn't. His dad apparently had up to 3 jobs just to support the family, and he still found time to hang out with them.
Yeah,
you know. And he says, and that's what a man does. He provides, right? And he said, and then the woman. I love this. Father Ripperger's words. He says, a woman gets 10 times more pleasure from talking than men do. And that's not something that it's like, it's something bad. It's actually a perfection because that talking needs to be very present when their kids are growing up.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it can stunt their mental growth if you don't talk to your children, which is why today we have kids that, you know, on the iPad and everything. I'll admit it. I've given a phone to Mia when she was 2, but that was for other reasons.
Yeah.
And what's their reaction when you take it away? Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny, Father Ripperger's line. He's like, women, that doesn't mean that you talk to your husband about every single thing that happened today. It's meant for your children, and it's a perfection.
Well, that's why we saw students or kids who were born a little bit before COVID and had to go through prime developmental years witnessing their parents talk to them with a mask over their face. They didn't see that.
Yeah.
So even the voices they heard were kind of muffled. That just destroyed their development for language. Their ELA development is so far behind.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of kids with speech impediments. And we don't have the speech language pathologist to help with it. We're already behind. Madera Unified lost a lot of them because they weren't able to pay them enough. So we had to go outside contractors for it. A lot of it is, some of it's digital now, and it has to happen after school. It's crazy.
Dude, that is crazy.
So that whole development
it's crazy where all this money goes, the taxpayer money goes, and where we need it to go. Like, I've always thought that cops and education was where it needs to go because that's our future and that's who protects us.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Do you want to know how much money I get to spend on my classroom supplies for a whole year?
How much?
$500.
A whole year?
For a whole year.
How many students?
I have 23 students this year. My first year, I had 26.
Whoa.
26. Everything else comes out of my pocket.
So what? That's $4 a student? Average 25? If I say it's 20, it's $5 a student.
Let the guys with the calculator run
Thank
that
you
one
guys.
up. Don't make me do math
I didn't
right
have.
now.
I thought you learned calculus on your own. You can't. Do
I
math.
did. It's been a while. Is he gonna do it on paper? Let them figure it out.
Yeah,
But,
these guys are engineers.
They're gonna figure it out pretty fast. I think
They're gonna
no,
be
it's a
like
little bit more than that.
0.823567.
It's more than that. It's got to be around 2.
Yeah, so you have $500 per year, 25 students. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll go 25.
All right, yeah, that's $20 a student.
There you
$20
go.
a student.
20 bucks a
Yeah,
student.
you can only spend 20
So
I failed math all 6 years, from 7th grade to 12th grade. I don't know.
but a pack of I use whiteboard markers, pencils. They have their own journal book for when they're doing their writing. Erasers. So all that stuff I pay for. It has to come out of that $20. I'm telling you right now, a pack of Expos is about $18.
Whoa.
They go through about 2 Expo markers a week because they're writing so much on their whiteboard.
Dude, I saw something crazy today on the YouTube. I don't know if it's real stories, whatever. A dude had made a purchase for Walmart, 45 items during COVID. Mm-hmm. It cost him like $140 something.
I saw that.
And then he said, what is it? Place order? No, replace order. It came out to like 460 something.
Yeah.
Dude, that is crazy.
Don't tell me inflation's going down.
Yeah.
That's fake. It's so fake.
But yeah, going
You
back
can
to
look
the markers.
Yeah, it's teachers have this job, and they start at one of the lowest salaries.
Yeah.
And you can go ahead and say that they get summers off. You need that when you're working 12-hour days, the other 180. It's not 7:45 to 2:45 when the kids get out. No. We start 7:45 and we go until we get the papers done being graded. After we've lesson planned, after we've prepped for the next day. Teaching is one of the only jobs where you have to prepare the job for the person that's replacing you on your sick day.
Whoa.
Like, think about that. I have to stay after work to prepare for the next day because I'm going to be sick the next day. I feel it. I get that cough going on. I have to prepare everything for that teacher. So they come in and they just do it.
Yeah, dude, my teachers must have not done it because I've watched so many movies.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying my hardest not to be one of those teachers, but it's so easy to fall into that trap. Yeah, it's so... I'll say this and I'm going to stand by. I don't recommend teaching for anybody.
Yeah.
If you come up to me and say you want to be a teacher, I'm going to say, you sure about that?
Yeah.
You're going to want to sub for a couple weeks. Let me know what you think after. Because it is a very tough profession. You're not going to get a lot of money. No matter how high you go up, you're not going to get a lot of money. And there's very little thanks. The only thanks you're going to get is from the students.
Yeah. Because the parents expect your kids to have A's. And if they're not getting A's, it's your fault, not their fault, right?
I had a parent.
That's kind of why I like that. My ex-wife, I was going to say my girl. My ex-wife works for the district because she's the, like, I know you know better. You should be getting this done to my kid. Mm-hmm. So my kid is like a B's and A's student. And I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
But she's earning those.
Yeah, because, dude, my report card spelled FDA.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty good.
Yeah, and so I'm just amazed. If she was a C student, I would still be amazed. I'm like, how do you do it, man?
That's what I told the parents at the beginning of the year. I'm like, your kid's going to have an F at some point. Yeah. If they don't have an F, you have a very exceptional kid. But I grade based to standard. A means you're above standard. B means you're right at standard. And C means you're average. So if your kid's getting a C, I'm sorry, they're average.
Yeah.
D and F, you're failing.
Are you pretty blunt with the parents, or
very blunt with
every parent is a different case? The way they talk to
I'm very blunt with the parents, whether it's good or bad.
You're pretty consistent with all of them.
Yeah, good. I have to be, and it's because I'm already a young teacher. When I started teaching, I was 22 years old, youngest one there.
Wow.
Only this year did I become the second youngest.
Yeah.
And
at 22 years old, I was trying to get my ex-wife pregnant, bro. That's what I was doing.
I was not trying to do anything like that. I was grading papers. That's why I wasn't doing that. I was being a nerd. But it's just, I was the youngest teacher. I had to prove myself to the parents to some degree. That's why I don't know if you remember, I had the long hair with the man bun.
I do remember that.
My first year of teaching, I kept the man bun on purpose because I wanted to see what I could accomplish looking like that.
Dude, you should have just wore sandals too.
I was about to.
Be like,
there was days I wore Crocs,
guys?
bro. I pulled up with Crocs and sweatpants. I'm not gonna lie.
Man.
It was the Fridays happened. But I grew up my man, but I was like, if I could be a teacher and accomplish good things, looking like this, looking like that teacher you're not really sure about, then when I start looking professional, I'm gonna do some real cool shit.
Dude, but in California, they want the guy with the man bun.
Oh yeah, I constantly lie and say I'm a DEI hire because there was one other male teacher when I got hired. So
Elon,
they
DIE.
needed diversity. DIE. Die. I love that guy. That guy's hilarious. So yeah, when I got hired, I was like, I was the DEI hired. Like, you needed diversity here. You needed equity because there was no men here. So you hired me, and then once in a while they'll be like, "Well, you're straight though, so it doesn't really, you're not too diverse." And then I'll just walk away with the little, hit
Dude,
that.
straight doesn't exist anymore. It's cis.
Heck no, bro. And I
Dude,
mean, my
all
socks
right.
are on, but I'm hanging with the homies. You
That's
know.
what's up. That's what Trump said too. He says like from now on, there's only going to be two genders, male and female. And it's just
No
like,
more than two
whoa,
genders.
no more
That's
puberty
all we
blockers
have.
for kids. Like, dude, he said any doctor that has performed or does anything for
Well,
these kids.
did you hear about the study that came out? Well, okay, it didn't come out. It was kind of leaked, which is weird. But you had this article that talked about research regarding puberty blockers.
Mm-hmm.
And the research in that article proved that they were actually hurting children with the puberty blockers because it showed negatively for the puberty blockers.
Yeah.
The doctors decided not to release it because then they would have to stop providing puberty blockers to kids, and it goes against the agenda. So
Well, it's also less money in their pockets.
yeah, that is very true. That's something that's wild. Is
Dude, I'm glad Theo brought that up about how
Yes.
big pharma's crazy.
it's disgusting. I thought you guys were doing some math
Oh.
stuff, but yeah,
They're just
it's crazy
kissing.
how I know they're blowing me kisses. I love you guys, but it's crazy
That's
how
weird,
big
man,
pharma
wearing
is.
that hat and saying that. But
But that's why I don't like Mark Cuban. The way he acted towards the end of the Kamala's campaign, he really didn't make himself look good. But one thing he's doing right is his pharmaceutical website, where he's very transparent with how much everything costs. So he's able to keep the prices very low and ship them directly to the people. I think Trump needs to look into that. I think Trump needs to talk to him about it.
I think they both need to swallow their ego.
They both do.
and-
I think Trump's more willing to mark at this point. Only because he really looked bad with what he did with Kamala.
Yeah.
The way he was supporting her, the way he was praising her.
Yeah,
he did
was-
not look good.
Well, he was talking heckin' trash about Trump
Oh,
and
hell
Musk
yeah.
on Theo's podcast.
He
right?
was.
Yeah.
He was talking a lot of shit about him. And so he's going to have to swallow his pride because if he really wants to make a difference in the pharmaceutical environment, he's going to have to
work
with Trump. He's going to have to work with Trump. He's going to have to work with Kennedy.
Dude, it's crazy how like when people go bankrupt here, a lot of it's because of medical bills.
It's expensive as shit.
Dude,
Dude.
Yeah, dude.
Hella expensive. I'm still paying
I'm
a
scared to
hospital
get
bill
a
from when I broke
toothache,
my
man.
finger. I broke my finger back in March.
Got
Right?
popsicle stick and save,
So
huh?
bad.
Yeah.
I know how I was like, I literally went to Children's Hospital. They put Hello Kitty duct tape with gauze on it and sent me away. I'm still paying bills for that.
Dang, dude.
They didn't do anything. They didn't treat me except put the gauze and duct tape. And
I'm gonna
sent me
be
to the
honest, man.
hospital.
I've
It was
let every
bad.
medical bill go to collections, and then I just pay a better price.
I think I'm gonna do that with this one because I'm like, I'm looking at. It, I'm
If
like,
you're trying to get your
I
house, I wouldn't recommend it. But since I already got a house and my car's paid off, I'm like, I don't need.
I really, I at this point, I have insurance. I don't know what the heck I pay insurance for them to keep coming
Isn't
after
it
me.
crazy? And then you get like $500,000, not $5,000 deductibles and stuff like that. Yeah.
And when I looked at my plan, it said the emergency was going to be like a $20 deductible. I'm currently
not
at like
bad.
about
A copay, right?
500. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm currently at like a $500, $600 bill up to this point.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't understand how that's possible considering I still don't have feeling in this finger. I got the fingernail back, but I don't have feeling in that finger. So
Was this from your accident when you went on that trip?
no.
you didn't break your finger.
No, when I went to the trip, it was just all road rash.
Oh, okay.
This one was when I dropped the weight on my finger and it split. So my fingertip was hanging off. You can kind of see the scar right here. I'm gonna bring it over here, but like you see a line right here and a line right here. So this part, this little centimeter, was the only thing hanging on. The bone was crushed. It was about 6 pieces they had to pull
Did
out.
I know you when you had that?
Yeah, dude. It was like in March. It was this past year.
Man, it's been a crazy year, bro.
I was flipping people off on accident because I could not bend this finger. So I'm doing curls in the gym and it's just every single time.
All right, kids.
Right? Well, I loved it because I had two different levels of. I had normal finger and I had this big freaking casted up you, and it was awesome. It was awesome. But yeah, the medical bill was insane, and I don't get it.
I wanted to ask you something
Okay,
because I do have a lot of cousins that like live in LA, and the day after the election, their stories on Instagram were just like, I didn't know how to feel about it, dude. I'm not gonna lie, like, because I love my cousins, right? And I have a pretty good.
I'm guessing
relationship
it was
with
those ones where it's like, if you voted for Trump, f- you, and I never want.
No,
to talk to you again.
they're not
Okay.
that crazy. And well, the thing about it, it's just like, I avoided a lot of conversations with the other ones that I know could get heated. But I did start a conversation with one that, we have a better relationship. She lives in Fresno every once in a while. But yeah, she went to school. I don't know where, but she's within that, liberal mob. Sorry, cousin. I do love you. And I don't know how to approach it, man. I don't know how to talk to him, like to explain to them. Like, her concerns were about mostly, from what I understand, was the immigration thing.
Okay.
Like the whole deportation thing. Today, I heard the guy that's been on
yeah,
YouTube like crazy. What's his name? He's awesome.
He's saying
dude.
he's gonna deport everybody.
He's all like, so are you for splitting up families? He's like, no, I can send them together. I'm all like, dude.
Yeah.
No, but one thing that he said today, like they're gonna go after 1.5 million that are criminals and have violent crimes,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be like the start.
It's a good place to start.
It's a very good place to start. But even to get all 1.5 million, it's not gonna be like an overnight kind of thing. You know,
it's not gonna be overnight. Well, unless he declares state of emergency, and then he'll be allowed to use
Yeah, I don't think
National
they're
Guard
gonna do
funding. He did it for the border wall. So as much as I would love to say no, he has no checks against him. He has Congress with him. He has the Senate with him.
Yeah.
This is not Trump with lame duck presidency. This is Trump with everyone, hopefully everyone on his side.
Yeah. So how would you? Sorry to interrupt, but
You're fine.
how would you approach someone that you love and try to explain to them like it's not what you think it is? Because I know she's a lot of left media.
So my thing is this: there's no way in the living hell he's gonna deport every single illegal.
Right.
It's not possible. He definitely doesn't have the resources for that. What he does have the resources for is if there's an illegal who's committed a crime here, or we know exists here that has a criminal record, those are the ones he's going after. Because there's a way to find them. That's the difference. There's a way to find them. If there's...
I hear a lot of like violent crime. Is it any crime or violent crime as far as you know?
Well, okay, you can't say any crime because they're here illegally. That's a crime.
That's a crime, right?
That's a crime. Yeah.
And technically, my parents came here illegally.
Yeah, my dad came here illegally
You know?
twice. Homie was 2 for 2.
Nice.
Now he's legal.
Yeah, my dad was here working here, and then he went back, shacked up with mom. He's like, I'm gonna bring you with me.
Yeah. So my dad came over when he was like 3 or 4 months the first time. Got deported at 8. Came back again illegally because they had family. And
But your dad's also a Marine. He served, and
he was not a citizen until after that. And that actually did not help him.
Really?
No, it still took him about 2-3 years.
No way.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. A lot of people think, oh, he served. He instantly became... No, he had a long time after that. And the only reason, and I'm going to share this story and hopefully my parents don't get mad about it. The only reason was because my mom told him, if you get deported, we're staying here. You're going back alone. Like, these kids are legal. I'm legal. Yeah. You're going back alone. So he's like, I ain't leaving my kids. So he went through the paperwork. But no, I think that's something... I'm going to say this, and
just say it, man.
My opinion's kind of still up in the air 100%, but I do think there needs to be a way for us to allow illegal immigrants who've served in our military faster access to citizenship. And I'm not talking 2-3 years. It's got to be 6 months to a year max.
Because I think it took our buddy that's a Marine to get his parents' papers. So it took him a while, too.
It does. And that's not right, But there's also this one aspect of it that you're going to have people who come across illegally. They don't have good intentions. You served in the military 4 years. You're an American citizen. We can't get rid of you. And you still have those ill intentions. Yeah. Right? We need to be careful of that. So I understand why right now it's so long, but maybe if we tighten up the border, it'll be easier for us to make military to citizenship a faster pathway. I think we should also make it easier for people who've gone through our college system.
Yeah.
Because we have kids who are geniuses
Yeah.
that are coming out of these 4-year universities, but they're scared out of their minds because DACA ends once you graduate. You are now illegal. You could get deported. DACA does not have a citizenship pathway. Thanks, Obama. It doesn't have a pathway.
I haven't heard thanks Obama in a while.
Right? That guy's great. But Trump wanted to make a pathway for citizenship. He tried to get a pathway to citizenship, and it did not get approved. He was going to redo DACA so they graduate, they get citizenship. Now he's already promising he wants to give citizenship to anyone who's graduated from any college, junior college, university, any of them.
That's cool.
That's great. That's great. Because now what we're doing is the people who we're keeping here are the people who are skilled and want to make something. Yes. And people are going to be like, that's not ethically okay. You got to stop looking at the ethics of everything for just a second. Because when you nominate or when you vote for a president of the United States, it's not the president of North America. Yeah. It's not the president of the Americas. It's not the president of Mexico and Canada and the United States.
Yeah.
It's just the president of the United States. His job is to look out for this country. And that's what we need to remember.
Dude, and sorry, I just thought about your kid that says, Punjabs are for Trump. Because, dude, every gas station here is owned by an Indian dude, And,
really
and that's awesome because they actually do come here. I'm not sure how.
They work
legally.
their ass off.
They do, and they help our economy. They help create jobs. They help everything. So I get it. When JD Vance said it too on, I forgot whose podcast, about dude, if you're gonna come here and you're gonna contribute and make our country greater,
we want you.
Yeah,
we want you.
By all means. But if you're gonna come here and you're gonna rely on everybody else to take care of you, obviously, if it's something, if you're looking for what's the word?
Welfare?
No, if you're fleeing your country because
asylum. Yeah.
That's different, and that's also case by case.
Very much. Well, right now it's not. You can apply for asylum on an app.
Really?
Yeah. So they have an app where you can set up your entry portal and just say you're getting an asylum. Then you come in, you show them that you got the app, and they're like, "Okay, go." And then you're supposed to get a court date, and you show up later. But a lot of these people don't show up to the court date. I mean, your court date could be 4 years down the line. You really gonna remember to show up?
Yeah.
No, you're here for 4 years. Who gives a damn now? They ain't gonna chase you. That's not how it's supposed to work. There needs to be a way where, and unfortunately, I'm not saying the detention facilities are the best place for people, but they're detention facilities. They're not supposed to be 4 or 5 star hotels.
Yeah.
You're coming here, you're gonna have to suffer for a little bit because that's just the way it works when you're trying to escape somewhere. Yeah. We want to help people. The United States wants to help people. But we have our own citizens to take care of, step one. And then to help you, we have to make sure you're a good person. We have the right to do that. We have the right to make sure that we're not helping people that are here to seek ill for the United States.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've heard this, but it's not just Hispanics and Latinos coming up through the southern border. There was a large Chinese caravan.
Oh, really?
Of military-aged men coming up. Why do we need Chinese military-aged men coming through our southern border?
Dude, to get intel on China, bro.
Right? They shouldn't be coming. I'm saying this. And how do they get there? They come through Venezuela. Mm-hmm. There is no check in Venezuela.
So from Venezuela to Florida?
Venezuela through Central America and up.
Mexico,
yeah. So, and they've already caught people that are terrorist organizations from Arabia. Okay? So like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, they've caught terrorists. It's videoed. This is on the FBI's website. Them admitting, "Oh yeah, we caught this guy coming through the border. He's a wanted man.
Yeah.
This man is responsible for killing American soldiers. And they're coming through our southern border. We're locking it up not because we don't want to help the people that actually want a better life. Yeah. We're locking it up because when you come here to seek that better life, we want you to have it. Yeah. You're not going to have it if we're letting in terrorists. You're not going to let it if we're letting in the cartel.
Drugs, bringing in stuff, yeah.
If we're being overrun by the Chinese Communist Party, that's not going to happen. Yeah. We have to make sure America is safe. So when you come here, you're coming here to something beautiful still. And so with the whole deporting the immigrants thing, sorry, going back to your friend that you were talking about, they also have to take into consideration California is a sanctuary state. Mm-hmm. So as much as I hate that it is, that means that Newsom's going to put up a fight before he allows Trump to do anything to illegal immigrants in this state. Mm-hmm. And unless you're drawing attention to yourself in a negative light, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
So just don't do stupid shit.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I've worked in the fields, you know. Me and my dad and my brother. I mean, I actually did work in the fields, but we also had the farm labor contracting, and we relied on them, you know, to do it. Gosh, I forgot who said it, but I remember I heard this, that a lot of farmers kind of want them to open the borders to them because it's just cheap labor.
Oh, it is. It's 100% cheap labor.
But now it makes sense why they want cheap labor, because the states are taking so much from farmers.
California especially.
Is that every state, or as far as you know?
I can't speak for every state. I can speak for California. California politics is a little bit more my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I loved learning about California politics growing up because, or at least when I took the class in college, that was something that the teacher didn't want to talk about. Yeah. She was like, it's so confusing. There's so many layers to it. I know all about it, but I don't want to confuse you guys. So we're only going to do a couple chapters out of the book. I was one of those kids coming up after the class. And I was like, hey, I want to know more about this. I want to know why this is happening. I was asking the questions about California politics because California is the best example of what true democracy is. And it's not good.
Okay.
And here's why. The United States is not a democracy. Let's just lay this out there.
What is it?
The United States is a democratic republic, meaning you vote and it's supposed to be by region. So whoever wins the most regions wins the presidency.
Yeah.
That's why you have the Electoral College, okay? It's 435, I want to say, Electoral College votes. Thank you. It's around there, 435. That's why you need 270 to win. You need to win a majority of the regions. That's different from a majority of the people. And here's why. You have Madera. We're populated 68,000. Mm-hmm. You look at L.A. 1 point how many million in L.A.? We could get the other Christian to look that one up. But go ahead.
sos.ca.gov. There are a total of 538 electoral votes.
Way more.
538.
Yeah. California currently holds
54.
54.
54. Texas is second with 40. And they took one of ours. Because they got a higher population now. So
all in California.
Oh yeah. There it is. They got but it stayed red, thank goodness. So with Madera in a republic, the way the United States was meant to be, Madera's vote would equal the same as LA's. Okay? That's how it's supposed to be. Okay. Why? Because just because more people live in a concentrated area doesn't mean their opinion is greater than the people who live in a wider spread area, but there's still people that live there. That's why I hate those people who say land doesn't vote. Of course it doesn't vote. People live on that land. People nurture that land. People take care of that land. People produce food on that land for you. So the United States was meant to run as a democratic republic. People vote, yes, but it's not your singular vote that determines everything. It's the group of all the people there that determine, and then it keeps going. So what Trump needed to do when he won the election, he was winning electoral votes. Now, he still hasn't won the presidency. I'm going to break it down. This is where it gets confusing. He hasn't won the presidency right now. You have to have the Electoral College vote, which comes next. Now, each state, depending on how it was won, so California is going to send 54 Democrats to vote at this Electoral College. 54 Democrats because it won blue, which means all the Democrats, the Democratic candidate got all the electoral votes. Texas is going to send 40 Republicans because they got all red. Yeah. Okay? So all these people show up, they cast their vote at the Electoral College. One person per electoral vote. Based on how this went, it should be 312 Electoral College votes for Trump and then the rest to Kamala. There is no punishment for electoral voters if they decide to go against what they were told to do.
Really?
They're representatives. They could do what they want. It's never happened.
A representative is more like, they suggested.
Yeah. So your constituents...
They'll put their jobs at risk.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No. That's not even a job.
They get elected in?
You just get selected. So the Democratic Party gets to select their people because the Democrat Party won this state.
And it can be anybody? Like they can
From
select you?
Oh, yeah.
No way.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works on that part. Yeah. Now, the only difference is there's no consequences for these people if they decide to go against it. So let's just say I get called, hey, you're our Electoral College representative, go vote Republican. that. I'm gonna vote Democrat because I really don't like it.
On our occasion, it would be the
Yeah. Let's say it was. For some weird reason, they pick me to vote Democrat, and I go and I vote Republican. I just threw off the Electoral College votes. I went against what the people voted, but there's not a punishment for that. That's the aspect that's a republic.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not directly the people doing it. It's the people suggesting it, showing what they want, and then representatives going and handling their business. Okay? Then the Electoral College vote has to get approved by the it's governors, Electoral College, Senate. And then it finally goes, and that's when we declare presidency. So it's not just people vote, we get a president, that's it. That's democracy. That's what California has, unfortunately. 51% wins you whatever you want. Yeah. There is nothing else. Our constitutional amendments, you can check this to make sure I'm right. But in California, constitutional amendments need a 50% plus one. 50% so plus one.
Only majority.
Simple majority. The simplest of majorities. Okay? It should not be like that. It should not be like that. Because all you need then is San Francisco and LA agreeing on something and everyone else doesn't matter.
Yeah, because
that's all it population. Is. Exactly. It should never have been like that. That's not how it was supposed to be. That's why shout out Nebraska, shout out Maine, because they actually divide their Electoral College votes. You don't win all of Maine. You can win each vote individually. You don't win all of Nebraska. You have to win each vote individually. That's how it should be everywhere. Look at California. You were looking at California's map with the red strip down the middle.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, instead of 54 Electoral College votes for Kamala, it would have been more around 35.
Still won, but...
Still won, but 35 versus 54, that's a big difference. That's 19 for Trump.
I mean, it gives honest...
it does. More honest representation.
Thank you.
That's what it should be.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. But California doesn't work like that. California is a democracy through and through, and the problem is that means the simplest majority wins. And when people don't look up their information, people don't do the research, sometimes the majority aren't the smartest people.
Yeah.
And that's sad. So you get the constitutional amendments that we have, and like looking at, what was the most recent one? Proposition 2.
Did you guys get that answer?
1 second.
Yeah. Okay.
But Proposition 2 was changing our constitution in regards to marriage. And it was allowing for homosexual couples to get married. Was it? No, that was probably way back. I'm talking about this most recent election.
Oh, okay.
It was changing our constitution to word it so that way homosexual marriages can happen. Mm-hmm. We don't need to change our state constitution for that. It's already protected at the federal level. We don't need to do this. We should have left it alone. But a majority voted for it. And that's the sad thing. People don't understand. They don't have their informants. So breaking down that, California... politics.
And every state decides how their state runs, or I mean, who's a governor decides how that works out, or
with the Electoral College,
or senator. Or...
That's it's not the governor; it's the people. Over time, it becomes how you vote, and because California passed the simple majority rule, I think it was before Reagan was when we passed the simple majority rule.
Dude, I am 34 and I'm barely getting into politics. And that's the thing. That's the only advice I give people. Like, if you don't know much about politics, ask,
Yes.
And I've had conversations with you that I was completely disagreeing with everything you were saying. Mm-hmm. I think our first politics conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And then, luckily, you were patient with me and took the time and explained things to me. And till this day, explained things to me. And even then, there were some things that I found I'm like, nah, I don't really agree with that, but the respect that we've had has never changed.
No, never
altered,
dwindled.
And
you don't have that nowadays with the world.
Pretty hard,
especially in the nation. So many people cut off others because of this election.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I've had family members cut off other family members because they voted for Trump.
You guys got the answer, bro? Thank you.
Yeah, all right. So we got lao.ca.gov, specifically Proposition 170, that was voted in on November 1993, and Proposition 26, which was passed in March 2000, proposed to lower the voter approval threshold from 2/3 to a simple majority.
Whoa.
Keep in mind, these measures were not approved by voters. And then going from CaliforniaGlobe.com, how to amend or revise California's constitution. This recent amendment was by Proposition 6 on November 3rd, 1970 ballot. Section 4 requires a proposed amendment or revision to be submitted to the electors and if approved by a majority of voters, takes effect on the 5th day after the Secretary of State files the statement of the vote. Basically, if provisions of 2 or more measures approved at the same election conflict, the provisions of the measure receiving the highest number of affirmative votes prevails.
Okay. But notice how they said majority. They didn't say super majority.
Thank you.
So majority is just 50 plus 1. Super majority is 60, either 60% or 66, depending on the state.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly sad to see that people don't understand true democracy. True democracy is what California has.
Yeah.
And it's run by the majority of the people, which is sad. Small people don't have a voice. Central California is where a lot of your agriculture comes into handy. We're the we're the fruit basket of the world, right?
I remember when I worked with farmers, they said, dude, we sell so much more expensive to LA and San Francisco. They think fruit comes out of the sky. They have no idea how this stuff is picked.
No, they don't. It's crazy. And it's grown in their backyard.
Yeah.
Right? But those people's voices somehow matter less than the people that are eating it. So, yeah, it's just, but politics, the thing is with people, they take it to the heart sometimes.
Yeah, man. And I still think that some people take it overly serious where it becomes their identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And honestly, that was my first impression of you. Honestly, that was my first impression of you.
No, I give off that.
And that's the thing, man. Like, this is a Catholic podcast, you know?
Yeah.
How us as Catholic, especially that Trump one, which is what we wanted.
We should have wanted. Yeah.
How should we react to this? Because I think, throwing up the middle finger and like laughing at them. I love the Daily Wire, but at the same, and it's pretty funny stuff that they're putting. But at the same time, I know that's not how our faith is supposed to go.
No.
You know?
We're not supposed to go out here and rub it in their face like we just beat them in a football game.
Yeah.
Step one is definitely pray for Trump. I don't know if you saw the tweet by the Witches Society that said our spells are not working on Trump. There's some shield around him. They literally came out and said this.
Wow.
Dude's been shot out twice. Everyone hates on him. Everyone spits at him. They hate him, but somehow he won, right? And I believe it's because prayers are working. That old lady at church that goes to daily mass is praying for him, and it's working.
Yeah.
So we have to keep praying. That's step one, is praying for Trump, praying for the people that are hating on him, and hopefully they come to peace with it.
What exactly should we be praying for Trump about?
For his safety, for one.
Okay.
And also that God guides him and continues to guide him with his decisions. He's going to have a lot of difficult decisions to make.
Yeah.
And he's going to need the guidance from the Holy Spirit to be able to make those decisions correctly. One of those is the appointments he makes to his staff. So far, from what I've seen, today was his decision to make Huckabee the Secretary of the Treasury.
I thought you were going to say Huckleberries.
No.
The restaurant with the pancakes?
No, Huckabee, Mike Huckabee, the Arkansas governor. So he's making these decisions on people who kind of stick out from the Republicans even, because they want to make huge changes. Tulsi Gabbard being a big one. Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon running the Department of Government Efficiency.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Dude, when Elon said that we're going to downsize government. Oh,
Awesome.
Sorry, Christian, you got some?
Yeah, just because he mentioned the witches, like, it's no joke. I just found an article by The Star, article written by Miran Rahman, said each month under the glow of a waning crescent moon, thousands of American voters who also happen to be self-identified witches gather online and in person with one goal: preventing Donald Trump from winning the presidential election.
Whoa.
Kind of says something when the one we're going
We should
for
make
is
Adoration Day those days.
We should. When's the crescent moon again? Look it up. Let's go pray a rosary for him. Yeah. But yeah, I think St. Michael, has had a huge hand in keeping Trump safe. So step one,
they enrolled him into scapula, right?
I haven't seen that. I don't know. I know his wife is Catholic. Wife is a practicing Catholic.
Yeah.
I think he's almost there. He said something about, was it the Annunciation, the Nativity of Mary? One of the days that was important for Mary. And he went and he tweeted about it.
Really?
And saying,
he said, "Happy birthday, Mary." No.
Oh. Yeah, happy birthday, Blessed Mother. Yeah. And you don't say that as a Pentecostal. Like, like they don't have the Mary on that high of a pedestal. So it's really cool seeing that. I think if we keep praying for him, we'll see him become Catholic at some point.
Got it right here. So this is Catholics for Catholics. This was written on September 19th, 2024. He was actually given a scapular and relic of the True Cross from a Carmelite priest at a New York City rally.
Whoa.
So One of the largest rallies in New York City, former President Donald Trump reportedly paused backstage to pray with a Carmelite priest who presented him with a religious scapular and a relic of the true cross. The incident, which unfolded moments after Trump exited the stage, has quickly become a topic of fascination among his supporters and detractors alike, with the religious symbolism further fueling discussions around Trump's appeal to Christian conservatives.
Whoa. Just to continue off the Donald Trump really showing Catholic side, he did post a tweet saying, wishing everyone a blessed and happy All Saints Day with an image of saints with the Virgin Mary in the center.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. And do you think it might just be for the vote?
Even if it is, it's never a bad thing.
For someone to shout out.
Yeah, the Saints, never a bad thing to shout out the Saints, never a bad thing to shout out Mary. Because here's what's going to happen. In the end, you're just going to get the Catholics to vote for you, but also to pray for you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're praying for Trump. If we're being honest, we've been praying for our political leaders forever as Catholics. Mm-hmm. That's part of our thing.
The morning mass.
Well, not only the morning mass, but on Good Friday, there's a specific part for government leaders, you know? So we've been praying for them forever. This is nothing different. The only thing that's probably slightly different is the fact that he's actually working a little bit more for us.
Yeah.
Right? He's working to protect religious freedoms. So step one, definitely keep praying for Trump. Step two, don't play their game.
What's their game?
So their game is just to provoke you.
Okay.
They're going to try to say stuff. They're going to try to do stuff.
Like call you a racist, call you...
I saw one tweet, man, that was wild. It was like, when your kid grows up and you voted for Trump, I'm going to tell him you voted for a sexist, homophobic...
Yeah, that was one of the things. That's right here.
Fascist. And I was like, you don't even know. Like, you're a rapist.
No, it said...
Excuse me?
I took screenshots of the things that my cousins were posting, and it broke my heart because, well, first of all, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to tell you what I did. Right. It says, imagine looking at your kids in the eye and telling them you voted for a 34-time convicted felon, a racist, and a sexist, and being proud of it. And I was letting Mia know what I did when they sent that. But I also explained to Mia, like, what was my reasoning behind voting for Trump over Kamala.
And all of those things were false. None of them was right. He's not a convicted rapist. They never convicted him of rape. Those felonies that he was held accountable for, the 34, all of them originally would be labeled as a misdemeanor. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that they were outside of the state's statute of limitations. He shouldn't have been charged for those. That's not legal. Yeah. To charge him for those, but they did. So. All of these things
they
saying.
They didn't make a big deal about Hillary's laptop either. Right?
They didn't make a big deal about the laptop, her laptop, or Hunter's, or her emails. Yeah, right. Or Biden going quid pro quo with Ukraine. None of those things were a big deal. But the fact that he messed up when he was filling out his books, damn, we're going to get him for that. You know, like, you didn't carry the one.
There was two more, if I can read them out. Go ahead,
yeah.
And this is more about, I think it's their reproductive rights or, abortion. The first one is, may you never know the fear of having your human rights challenged every time there is an election. And may you never know the pain of watching loved ones vote against your right to exist fully, equally, and authentically. That's the first one. And the second one, it has a picture of like a Mexican mother holding her child that says, the next generation shouldn't have fewer rights than we did.
That's great. I'm still waiting for them to answer what rights they've lost.
I think it's the whole abortion thing. But in California, it's like...
No, but even then, they can't say they don't have that right before. That was never a right to begin with. That was never a right to begin with. Roe v. Wade just said it was legal. It never said it was their right. It's never written in the Constitution, they should have the right to abortion. It's not in the Constitution anywhere. States are putting it in their constitutions now. So if anything, they're getting more rights than they had before. This was never a constitutional right. They're not losing rights. They're just spitting words out that they hear. Okay? So yeah, we have to pray for them. That's I should have started that. Number 2 is pray for them and don't fall into their traps.
Pray for them. Don't fall for their traps.
Don't fall for their traps. They're going to try to bait you in to say stuff, to get into arguments, to get into discussions. Your choice is this. You either try to carry a conversation, but the minute it starts to become personal insults, get out. Yeah. And leave it. And sometimes you have to look at it as this. Are they still treating me like family and friends? Because if not, then I don't need to be around them.
Well, with some, I didn't have the conversation because I
That's
don't.
fine. That's
I don't want to
perfectly
provoke
okay.
him.
No.
But yeah, with the other one, it just kind of broke my heart because I love her and I hate seeing her. She's hella funny though. She was all like, "Dude, I found out about the election. I was literally at the club crying and dancing." And I'm like, "Dude, you're hella funny."
You're fine.
But
You're
at the
gonna be
same time, it's just like you don't want to see your loved ones be hurt, but at the same time, we have to stand up for what's right. You know?
No, and my thing is this: if there is no way the election results hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Did they hurt your feelings? Yeah, I can't control your feelings. You can't control
that
their
kind of
feelings
goes
at
back
all.
to my boss, where he's like, "I just don't like the things he says. I have nothing against
No,
his
it's by
policies."
feelings. And if I'm being honest, that's a very effeminate way of voting. Like, I'm sorry to say that, but it is. You're going based on your feelings. It's logic. This is a time for you to stop, put your feelings aside, and use your logic, because your decision when you vote isn't about you.
Yeah.
It's not about you. It's about the ones that come after you. It's about the ones you love. When I vote, this was something I seriously considered when voting, is do I want me and my brother to get deployed for war? Because now me and him are back underneath the selective service after the most recent law they passed. I could get sent to war now. I don't want to go to war. I don't want my brother going to war.
Yeah.
Sure as hell don't want my dad going to war, even though he's out of that. They might do something weird. That was definitely a bigger thing, was I don't want my loved ones going to war.
Yeah.
Versus I want to abort my kids. That's such a very stark
Day and
difference,
night, yeah.
and selfishness versus selflessness.
Yeah.
You can't be voting just because I want to do this.
Yeah.
No. It's voting for others. Even when I vote for Trump for economic reasons, like I said before, it's to protect and to provide. I don't want a house for myself. I want a house for my family.
Yeah.
Big difference. I want to be able to pay the electric bill at a decent price so we have that stuff, you know? Not just for me, for my family. I'm not even home that much.
Yeah. I got
you know? So it's this difference between people who voted very selfishly versus people who are voting selflessly.
Dude, I remember I was doom scrolling and some chick said, "All right, ladies, let's just not have sex with men." I'm like, cool. Virginity is cool.
Welcome to the club, guys. No, no.
Yeah. No, but I'm like, for me, it's just like, yeah, that's kind of what we want. That's what our values are. That's where I feel like we lost a lot of values.
Oh, yeah.
Making
Sex casual.
just casual. Yeah. It definitely messed me up growing up.
They're
And
like,
still stuff that I'm fighting off, you know?
yeah. When their reaction was, we're going to abstain from sex.
Whoa. You mean you're going to grow in virtue?
You mean you're gonna be chaste?
That'll show me.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna keep Planned Parenthood in business. You know, the fact that you're not having sex and not getting unplanned pregnancies is gonna keep Planned Parenthood in business. They already announced that they're going to go bankrupt if this continues.
Planned Parenthood?
Yeah. I got one. Thank you though.
Cool. So I can go to Starbucks again.
Yeah, it's that was weird proposition. I think it was 35. Was the one I had trouble with because the Republicans were okay with it, Democrats were okay with it, and Planned Parenthood was okay with it. I didn't know. The only person against it was Newsom. I had no idea what to recommend. I had to pray about that one and think about it, and I ended up being okay with the proposition only because
What was the proposition about?
it was ensuring that the taxes that are set aside for Medi-Cal went to the doctors. So that way doctors would get paid, right, for providing services. Because right now, Medi-Cal pays about pennies on a dime for services. So that's why the hospital shut down. That was one. And other doctors stopped taking it. So people aren't getting treatment. So it became, abortions are going to, are doctors going to get paid more for for doing abortions? Yeah, they are. That's not going to change the fact that they're going to do abortions.
Is it considered inpatient surgery or what is it?
No, just in general.
I mean, no, I don't know.
It's a service that Medi-Cal pays for. So it doesn't change the fact that Medi-Cal is going to pay for it. It doesn't change the fact that doctors are going to do it. It doesn't change the fact that what rate the abortions are going to happen. The only difference is where the money's going. And if you say no to this, that hospital is going to fail.
Yeah.
Doctors are going to stop taking Medi-Cal, and people are going to start receiving treatment because they're not taking it. They don't have to. Legally, doctors will have to take Medi-Cal. So while it was sad to see that, okay, abortion providers are going to get paid a little bit more, everyone else is going to start receiving better care. That's where you had to kind of balance it out. Abortion was going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. Abortion was going to happen no matter what that proposition passed or not. It was now, okay, can we get the hospital up and running? Can we get these doctors to stay here and actually serve the people on Medi-Cal, right? People who don't have a job, people who lost their job, people who have a part-time job and can't afford insurance. Those are the people that still deserve actual medical care. They deserve to be able to go in and get medicine when they're sick with a cold and stuff like that, or chemo if they have cancer. And doctors won't pay for that or won't provide that if they're not getting paid correctly by Medi-Cal taxes. So
I don't blame them. I mean, you go to school for this stuff, you know?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Pay the doctors.
Yeah.
Don't pay the pharmaceuticals, but pay the doctors.
The pharmacies are crazy.
Pharmaceuticals are wild with stuff.
Yeah, man. I've heard two different types of, comedy. Everybody always has, because it's a touchy subject and you're going to piss somebody off, and that's funny, from being a fan of comedy. I remember Bill Burr had one that's more pro-life. He's all like, you know, if I'm baking a cake, if I did the mixing and everything, I had everything, and I put it in the oven, and then you just come take it out of the oven and throw it against the wall. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? That's my cake. He's like, well, it had a potential to be a cake, but it wasn't a cake kind of thing, you know? And then
that's a good example.
And then there's Andrew Schultz, where he says, all right, so say I'm walking down the store and I see a little girl and I start checking her out. And he's like, hey, dude, what the hell? Like, that's my 8-year-old daughter. He's like, yeah, but she's a potential adult. So, you know, and I'm just like, oh.
These comedies.
That was really dumb, though. That it really doesn't.
But they're very, I mean, they paint it in a better picture. The only difference is in reality, it's not even potential anymore.
Yeah.
It actually is. And when people say, oh, it's not, it's my body, my choice. That's something, I'll go back to it in just a second. But yeah, the my body, my choice, it's not your body. Unless you're telling me at that moment when you're pregnant, you have 4 arms, 4 legs, 20 toes, 20 fingers, 4 eyes, 2 stomachs, 2 hearts. It's not yours.
It's still considered a double homicide, right? If you kill a pregnant woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the fetus, which in Latin means little child, is its own DNA. It has its own. You can't even label it a parasite because it has human DNA. A parasite has different DNA from its host.
Yeah.
It's a different species than its host. This is not a parasite. It's an actual living person from conception. Princeton said it. They did a study. 98% of biologists agree it starts at conception. University of Chicago, Illinois came out with a study that also proved it starts at conception. So this is not even a religious issue anymore. It's not religious anymore. You could literally push religion to the side, have it scientifically, and their only thing is, well, I just don't want the child.
Yeah.
What if it's in rape? What if it's in incest?
Isn't like...
Are you going to kill a kid for someone else's crime?
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I've heard that. I mean, can you guys check up on these statistics that less than 1% of abortions are rape victims? 3%, is it?
Should be 3. Last I checked.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that.
It's like a very small percentage.
I think it was less than 1. I think it was about
That's what I had heard.
75% of abortions occur out of convenience.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Even medically, it's never medically necessary to have an abortion. Never. When you have a DNC, that's not an abortion. The fetus is already passed away.
What's a DNC?
A DNC is what happens after a miscarriage.
Oh.
They remove the fetal remains.
According to USA Today, just 1% of women obtain an abortion because they became pregnant through rape, and less than 0.5 do so because of incest.
Yeah, so, I mean...
The argument those people make is for...
Same with the whole transgender argument. It's like less than 1% of the population, right?
Are actually transgender,
But-
not just in a trend. It's
Do you
great.
mind getting that statistic? Thank you guys, man. This show would be nothing without you guys.
Right? We be saying random stuff and never getting fact checks. We're better than CNN. But the abortion...
So let me... Sorry, my bad. So according to data from 2022, of course, this can be a little bit skewed, but this is worldpopulationreview.com. In the United States, approximately 0.52% of the adult population identifies as transgender. Again, this is data from 2022. Let's see if we can find anything more recent.
No, but like say that from
That
now it's
0.52 is
1%.
really loud.
That is so small.
That is so small.
You know?
That 0.52 is hella loud, though.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
shut up.
that's the crazy thing, and that's the one thing that like I don't really get like about these rights. It's what you said. It's convenience.
Yeah, it really is.
And that's kind of the most frustrating thing. Like me, I'll admit it, you know, growing up and even within trying to practice my faith, I've bought Plan Bs.
Mhm.
And I get it, and it's scary, and it's something that I don't want to take on, but it's just,
You can't live life with no consequences.
Yeah,
you know?
man, and that's why I decided to just stop, man.
Yeah.
Just save it until marriage and don't even do that anymore.
Mm.
Although it's still a struggle, like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's well. The problem is when you feel like you're living without consequences, that means
Yeah.
someone else is taking them on. The plan B is such not to mention it is an abortion, right?
Yeah.
But it's also such a poison for the woman. Like it really poisons them. It's like it's actually like it's equivalent like swallowing a pill of gasoline. You know, like it's not good for you. Same thing with birth control. It destroys their hormones. It really it alters how they feel about men. People have been on birth control and been in a relationship with a man. The minute they stop birth control, all of a sudden they're no longer attracted to this man because it was screwing up their hormones so much.
Yeah.
Don't date a woman on birth control, guys. She probably doesn't actually like you. But it's so crazy that when we go against nature, when we deliberately go right up against nature, it fucks us so hard. It really messes with us so badly.
Yeah, and like it's something. Oh, go ahead, man.
Sorry. So this is again world population. According to the Williams Institute, 1.4 million adults identify as transgender in the United States. If we compare that to the current population, which is 334.9 million as of 2023. Thank you. That comes out to about 0.418%.
So it dropped.
It dropped.
It was 0.52, right?
Yeah, and going into the abortion topic, the medication abortion accounted for 63% of all U.S. abortions in 2023, according to the Guttmacher Institute.
And you know those pills fail, right? So they don't actually complete the abortion, which there's sometimes where the woman then has to be taken to a hospital and receive a surgical abortion to follow up.
Yeah.
And it could actually destroy her ability to reproduce after that.
I had met a girl that happened to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was really bummed out about it, and I can tell that she was trying to find like solace or meaning or like love just from a string of men instead of just because like she was heartbroken for that. Yeah, because she had started when she was really young.
Yeah.
I think her parents got her on it like when she was 16. And because she was active, and you know it's okay. Like if you guys love each other, it's okay. Be active, kind of thing, you know. And so when I met her, she was like in her early mid-20s. Yeah,
Sex culture has really, really badly affected our society.
Yeah,
It's so bad, and both are to blame. Men and women are to blame for it. You really can't just put the blame on one. But where the men screwed up is men are creatures of opportunity.
yeah, dude.
That's what we are.
like,
If the opportunity's there, we're going to take it. And unfortunately, what's happened is instead of teaching these men self-discipline, right?
Yeah.
Where even though the opportunity's there, that doesn't mean you have to take it.
Yeah,
All we've said is, bro, you get that, right? And we've encouraged it. We've encouraged this opportunity.
yeah,
Take the
man.
opportunity.
And I'm definitely, I would consider myself like one of those guys that would take opportunities or advantage or stuff like that. Even though my beliefs are don't do that, don't like that has been a struggle, you know?
Yeah.
Like sleeping around. And as much as I believe it, like I still fall.
100%.
I mean, luckily not as bad as I was before. It's been a good while. And but like I'd be going to mass, you know, or even preaching at the church. But over here, like I just bought a girl plan B, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. It's a thing of opportunity, but it was just something that was instilled with me since, like I said, I think I became sexually active at 8.
Yeah.
And everything said it was okay. All my buddies said, "You the man," you know. What's
And
up,
see, that's the
player?
thing,
What's
we're
up, pimp? And I'm
encouraging
like,
that
cool.
Creature
you
of
know?
opportunity mindset.
Yeah.
And it's sad. And I think that's where you start to heal society is when you stop encouraging this creature of opportunity.
Yeah.
And instead saying, yeah, you're going to have these urges. Yeah, you're going to look at this opportunity. You want to take it. But you got to have self-discipline. That's what separates you as a man is learning that self-discipline. And it takes a lot.
I don't think it wasn't until we had the men's group.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how long that ago was. That 3 years? It was that
3 years
post-COVID?
ago. Yeah, post-COVID.
And
Brotherhood St. Peter,
Where
shout
the-
out.
It's there somewhere. It's no, but that's when I started to really take my discipline a little bit more serious, or at least gave attention to it. Because before it was just like, oh, I messed up, and it's not just sex, like watching porn and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Because I think I watched porn when I was 5. Back then, you had to work hard to watch porn. You had to find a VHS or magazines, yeah. And but yeah, I was exposed to it pretty soon. Older brothers, they had it around the house, so. When they were at work, I'm all like, I got nothing to do. SpongeBob isn't on.
What's that under the bed?
Yeah, boy. Anyways, so yeah, that really messed me up, and I'm like, I know women have it a lot harder when it comes to like if something happens, and that's why I get like, okay, this is where I get their point. Like, we should have the choice,
Yeah.
By the way, going back to comedy, just a side note, I love how Dave Chappelle one day is like, if you guys have the choice to keep or kill the baby, I should have the choice to abandon him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
that one meme that says, if women can't abort the baby, then men can't leave them. And then the guy walks up and says, your terms are acceptable. And I was like, that Catholic viewpoint. Yeah. We're not against that.
Yeah. So it's crazy how much the culture can mess you up, and the influence of it can be a lifelong struggle. But it wasn't until men's group where I started to implement like discipline, because I actually hung out with dudes. I'm like, you guys are all virgins? That's crazy. Like,
they exist.
Yeah,
like
man.
Steve Irwin. Wow, one in the wild.
yeah, for real. And now it's just like, man, I'm surrounded by these guys. I need to have some cool friends. Nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, my perspective definitely changed on that.
Yeah. And so that's the male side, is the whole creatures of opportunity. And men need to be more self-disciplined, right? To when the opportunity arises, doesn't mean you take it. The women, for their part, don't provide the opportunity. If you go on a date with a guy, just because he bought you dinner doesn't mean you have to give him sex.
I mean, what does he look like?
Right? No, you don't do it. Like, oh, he bought me dinner, I guess that means I give him sex. Yeah. No, it doesn't. It means you make sure he opens your door for you, and he gets you home safe.
Well, the thing is, the expectations for a man has dropped so much, you know?
Well, the expectations for women have also dropped.
Yeah, that's true.
It goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Do you think that's more the man's fault or the woman's fault?
I don't think you could blame one or the other.
I know blame men.
I know men are supposed to lead society. Don't get me wrong. And as this past, I would say 6 months, I've realized how shitty men can be nowadays. Our generation of men suck. They really do. Like most of us suck.
Z.
Like 90% of us suck.
Starting with boomers, millennials, Gen Z.
I'm just looking at my gen.
All right.
My generation of men suck. About 90% of us really suck.
Sure.
Okay.
The 10%'s in here, right?
The 10% are the 10% in the room with us. But it's because most of them are raised to be creatures of opportunity. Mm-hmm. You have that 10%, and I think it's growing maybe now because we're having this shift in culture where masculinity is a good thing. That building self-discipline, you have those 10% that have self-discipline.
I feel like that whole masculinity thing, it has to be kind of quiet still.
What do you mean? Like toxic?
Because everybody thinks like, he wants to be masculine. Oh, he's Andrew Tate kind of thing,
Yeah, I don't get why that's a bad thing just yet. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of these accusations against Tate are pretty bad, but none of them have been proven. So what he's promoting isn't putting down women.
Right.
It's raising up men. That's the difference. And you have to raise up men because you need a king to have a kingdom. Right? You need a king to have a kingdom.
Yeah.
King to have a kingdom, guys. Okay? And then you have a queen, right? And the queen keeps the king in check. She makes sure he doesn't do anything too stupid.
Yeah.
Voice, but you have to have a king. And if you have a bunch of guys who don't think like that, who don't treat themselves as kings, and I don't mean that in going around and sleeping with everybody. I mean in terms of respect yourself, dude.
Yeah.
Respect yourself. If you've been with everyone, it don't matter. You're not something cool. You're not something special. Okay?
Appreciate it.
The best Pokemon cards aren't the ones that are mass produced.
It's the rare ones,
right? It's the rare ones. Okay, if everyone has your Pokemon card, surprise, you don't matter.
And this is why he's a virgin. No, I'm kidding.
I never even played Pokemon. That's the crazy part. That makes it so much worse.
Because I have a huge collection right behind
you.
No, in the bottom shelf.
Oh my gosh.
I have 4 binders of Pokemon cards.
You can't see now. You can't tie Pokemon with virginity. Can't do it. But yeah, it's like guys need to start holding themselves a little bit higher in their self-esteem and self-discipline.
But I agree 100%. But I don't like the whole bro culture. Like, oh man, you got to take care of yourself, king. I kind of cringe with stuff like that. I do understand that, hey, get your shit together and like stop being a man and stop fucking around so much. Yeah. But the whole I feel like it's like the gym bro.
Some of it can be cringe. Some of it's like, hey, like you didn't need her, king. Leave. Like no, that's weird, stupid as shit. But I think the reason why people tie the word king to it, isn't because we're trying to put ourselves on some huge pedestal. It's that whole old age look, right? Kings were kings because they did epic shit. Mm-hmm. Okay, they went and conquered. They didn't sit back and do nothing. They didn't sit down and whack off. Okay, they went out there and they fought wars. Okay, King David was out there fighting. He wasn't sitting down doing absolutely nothing. We're not going to talk about Bathsheba. He went down and did.
No, but he started. Was he first mentioned when he took down Goliath?
Goliath was the first kill.
Yeah.
And he did that with a sling and a stone. When he became king, it was epic. There were songs about how he killed more than the previous king. He was out there with the men doing what he had to do. Yeah. Again, don't talk about Bathsheba. But
no, but I think we should talk about her because that's a perfect example of like
a king failing.
Effeminacy.
Oh, yeah. He totally...
Because how's the story go? Like,
so
there was a war. He decided to stay home.
He stayed home. He fell in love with his lead general's girl. Slept with her.
He didn't even fall in love with her, did he?
Huh?
He did fall in love with her?
Well, I mean, fell for her. Yeah. I don't know if that means fell in love, but he likes her. He liked the way she looked. And so he slept with her, got her pregnant. He's like, yo, I can't let my friend find out. Calls the guy back, says, hey, you worked so hard. Go sleep with your wife. But this guy was so loyal, he ended up sleeping at David's door to make sure no one came and killed David. And no matter what he did, David couldn't get this guy to go have sex with his wife.
Wow.
And so he ended up having him killed. Yeah. So he kills this guy by having him go to the front lines and having the entire front line retreat, leaving him alone.
Yeah.
Kills the guy instantly. That kid that he had with Bathsheba ends up dying. Doesn't survive. But if I'm not mistaken, the second kid is Solomon. Okay, so the second kid's Solomon. King Solomon does great for a while.
Did he also have her with Bathsheba?
Yep, yep. Solomon was the daughter of Bathsheba, or son of Bathsheba. Ooh.
So he didn't stop.
No, he did not stop. He married her and took her on. Okay. But that was the job of a king anyways. Any widows he was supposed to take care of.
Oh.
Not necessarily have sex with, but he was supposed to be taken care of.
Wow, like our government should take care
of. Military widows. But they don't. So, but yeah, that's a perfect example of what a king should do, right? Is he should be a leader. He should go out and fight like David did. You're going to fail, though, like with what happened with Bathsheba. Just try not to do it, okay? But I think that's where the king culture comes from. It's not necessarily meant to be cringe, like, oh, you got this king. Yeah. It's meant to be, you are a king, pick your head up and start acting like one. There's this Instagram page called King's Community. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, maybe if you follow it. I follow it, and I love it because a lot of it is telling men stop looking down so much and start looking up. You get so stuck in your depression, your anxiety, your stress, and instead of looking for ways to get out of it quickly and move forward, you get stuck in it and you sit in it. And why are you doing that? It's also a page that totally tells men stop allowing yourselves to be with women that aren't what you deserve. When you deserve better, go for a woman that's better. Yeah. Don't settle. Find a woman that's worth it. Because a lot of men nowadays are, like, you know what, this one's close. She'll do. She'll fit the bill, you know?
Yeah.
No, find a woman you deserve. Find a woman that you've worked for.
Have standards, yeah.
Exactly. And it's important and that
For
goes
both.
for women.
Yeah,
They need to
100%.
have standards. You need to have standards. I think having sex on the first date is a stupid thing.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous. Having sex in general before marriage is stupid, but that's definitely the stupidest one.
Why do you think it's stupid?
He bought you dinner, so you're gonna like,
No,
you know
like,
what I'm saying?
say
The
just
price here.
boyfriend and girlfriends.
Even then, think about this. You're pretty much saying if you have sex on the first date, you're saying you're pretty much worth what he paid for dinner.
Yeah, and
That's the reality of the
way I look
situation.
at it is like, man, how many guys have bought you dinner? you know?
Exactly, exactly. If all I had to do is buy you dinner to get sex, you're cheap as hell.
Yeah,
You are cheap as.
yeah.
You really.
But what
need to
about
look higher
like
on
the
yourself.
ones that dated, they waited a couple months, and then once they felt that they were ready, why is that stupid?
Here's why it's stupid. Because there's still no commitment. There's still no commitment.
Yeah,
You're not committed. Tomorrow you could text him, say I don't love you, break up, and that's it.
yeah.
There's no commitment.
no ring.
Nothing. And that's sad. And that is really sad because I get it. Like you've been dating like a couple months, you feel like you love them and you're gonna be together forever, so you have sex. But then all of a sudden, and this is a weird way to put it, but you like hit that post nut clarity for the guys, right? And you start seeing everything else, and you're like, well, I don't want to be with her. Well, dude, you just had sex with her. There is a chance she's pregnant. If she is pregnant, you are going to have to take care of that child.
Yeah,
And if you don't, that's you eliminating the consequences because you simply don't want to live with them.
yeah.
That's
And-
selfish.
Yeah,
And it starts to
or
damage
it's
you.
using the whole contraception, and I'm not sure which order these are going to go out. But last episode we had Christian and Lupita here, and they were talking about their marriage, and they brought theology of the body about free, total, faithful, fruitful. How a marriage requires that, and the whole. Because a lot of people think that sex is just like, oh, it's fruitful, you know? No, but it's all four: free, total, faithful, and
Yeah.
fruitful. When you use contraceptions, because a lot of people will have sex boyfriend and girlfriends and they'll use condoms, be on the pill.
Yeah.
You're not giving yourself completely
No.
in total, you know?
No.
And not only is free, total, faithful, fruitful the perfect love, but it's also the perfect act of love. It's a
It is.
perfect example that Christ did on the cross. And, you know, when you said
Giving
king,
yourself completely
Yeah.
and trusting the other person's giving themselves completely at the same time. And you're both agreeing that you love each other so much
yeah,
that you're even going to love the consequence.
fruitful, yeah.
That's
the
the
fruits
crazy
that come
thing.
from this, whether if
Exactly.
it's a closeness with one another or
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
hold on.
Go ahead.
When you were mentioning about kings, it brought me back to this, what we used to teach at TOB a lot, JP2, that, St. Paul says it.
yeah.
Husbands, love your wives as Jesus loved the church. Jesus is the king.
Well, not only that, he died for the church.
And we're supposed to
We're
die for our
supposed to
women.
die for our wives.
That book right there, Be a Man by Father, I think Larry Richards.
Yeah, this one.
He says, men, every time you wake up in the morning, you think, I am last. First it's
Yeah.
my wife, my children, and then it's me.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, I include myself in that, and slowly getting out of that. And as I'm dating, getting to know new women, I'm trying to implement all these things that I've learned. It's hard, man.
It's very hard.
It's hard not to be selfish.
Let me put it in like a simple perspective that like I deal with every day. You know I go to gym. I love going to the gym. But there are mornings waking up at 4:30 sucks.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't want to roll out of bed. The thing that gets me out of bed is I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this so I could lift up my kids.
Yeah.
When I have kids, I could carry someone when they need to be carried across something.
I'm so glad Mia's light, dude.
Right? It's like I'm not doing this for me. Because in the end, what is that going to do for me? I'm not going to go compete anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I have body dysmorphia. I don't like how I look no matter what.
Yeah.
It's for the other person. I want the other people to benefit from what I'm doing. Whether it's carrying them, whether it's just having an able body at the age of 60.
Yeah.
So my grandkids could look at me and I say, damn, grandpa can't come outside because he's stuck in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Like-
There's this dude that I follow on YouTube. His name is Bedros something.
Mm-hmm.
Bedros something. And he was talking about how one time he was at a restaurant and this dude was acting a little funny, kind of crazy. And this dude's jacked.
Yeah.
And he's all like, I was looking around, and out of all the men that I saw in this restaurant, I only looked at one, and he looked at me. Like, if something goes down, we got each other. He was also jacked.
Yeah.
Everybody else was out of shape, skinny, weak. So if something were to go wrong, not only do these two guys have to try to handle that situation, but they can't rely on anybody else. And now they become someone that they need to protect too.
Yep.
Instead of having that help. And that kind of opened my eyes, dude. Like, do you want to be that guy that, like, hey man, something's going down, can you help with something? Just based off your appearance.
Yeah.
You know?
You got me. Yeah, it's
So I think it's very important to work out, and yeah, I should do it a little more.
even have any type of like fighting skill. I think it's important.
Yeah,
because-
jiu-jitsu is a tough one because most fights start standing up. So
Tempo.
I'm gonna like wait, hold on. Can you come down?
Wait, hold up. Just give me your leg. It's I think men need to. I think so. You know what? I guess I can, to some degree, say men are first in creating the problem, and they could be the first ones in being the solution.
Yeah.
If you start having higher standards, women are going to start rising to meet those standards. Women will change for the man they want. If they want,
If the
real
man is a bigger, better deal than what they have now,
exactly,
yes.
yeah, the women will totally. If they see a man, they're like, "Yo, that's everything I wanted. That's the man who's going to take care of me. He opens my door for me. Like, he actually wants to provide for me. I'm gonna change myself, become better." So he actually looks at me and considers me, right? But the men have to start first. The men have to start, and they have to be willing to deal with the sad consequence that at first, no girl's gonna want to be with you at first. No girl's gonna want to be with the guy who's freaking working.
No
her
girl
ass
that
off.
you
At first,
that you want,
especially one that's in your circle to begin with. You're gonna have to go outside. Your circle's gonna change.
Nah, what I mean,
mindset.
it's more like, you know, once you start to give yourself standards, but you don't have enough standards to provide to someone, you're not gonna find the one that you want.
No, that's
if
true.
that makes sense, you know. So yeah, the more you work on yourself, the more your options are available.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think, and I'm still discerning this too, that every man at one point or another should consider the priesthood. You know.
Yeah.
One thing that I love, man, is you know, I forgot which priest because I listened to so many of them. They said, "Father, like, I don't know if I should be a priest because, like, I really feel called to be a dad." And he's like, "Well, that's a good sign to be a priest because we need priests that would be good fathers, you know?"
Yeah.
And vice versa. We need good fathers.
That would be a good priest. I could tag on that because there's been like 3 people in the past 2 years that have told me, "Hey, you should be a priest."
Yeah.
I ever thought about it, and their reasoning was, "You have all the qualities of a good priest." And I was like, "Well, wouldn't that make me have the qualities to be a good dad too?"
Exactly.
Because my whole idea was growing up and trying to be a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, I just wanted to serve God. Whatever capacity that was I wanted to serve God. And as time went on, even though I helped out so much in the church, it never was there where I was like, that pull that I've always heard brothers and priests talk about was that pull to, okay, go try it out. Go check the seminary. It was never there. It was never there.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate, when the first time a priest told me, "Hey, have you ever thought about the priest? I think you should really consider it." One, I was already in a relationship. So him telling me that, I was like, bro, that's hella inconsiderate. And 2 was, why is it that I have to be a priest if I have these qualities? Why can't I be a dad and have these qualities?
I think it's more about discerning.
It was.
Like where God is calling you to. And you
Yes.
know where he's calling you to. Like, I
Yeah.
remember the first time I got the hit of priesthood, I was pissed.
Yeah.
I didn't want it, but I'm all like, did you just tell me to do that? So
Yeah.
immediately I got in a relationship.
Mhm.
So I can't avoid that. Now I'm divorced, and now I've had a priest and a brother tell me, like, you should consider priesthood. And I'm like, you know what, man? Once my kid is self-sufficient, because even me is all like, well, what if I'm not married? I can go be a sister. I'm like, that'll be sick. You be a sister and I'll be a priest, you know? But I told these guys, I'm like, you know, once Mia's fine, whether she's married and has her vocation, truly no longer needs me because she's either God's or her husband's. Yeah, man. If I'm single, I'll go.
Yeah. It's about that. Like, I think it's more about where you end up in that moment where you're finally okay with, I'm okay with being me.
Yeah.
once you're okay with being who you are and trying to become better for God, then God's gonna be like, all right, check this out. And you're just gonna be like, all right, let's go with it and see what happens.
I was pissed because I was scared.
Yeah.
And like the more that I considered it, the more that I hung out with them, the more that I would go up there, just spend weekends with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I realized like I could do this.
Yeah.
I would like this, you know?
You know what scared me? Every single time I've been like, let's think about the priesthood. Freaking confession, dude. I really don't know if I could. And I know this is where you gotta humble yourself and ask God to help you handle it. But like sitting there listening to people's sins the whole time, part of me would start getting pissed. Like, bro, what the fuck? And I don't mean that to judge because I know I'm one of the worst ones, you know.
Yeah,
but like,
I've heard your sins.
So, yeah. No, I was about to say something that we could not cover up. Okay, but yeah, I really was like the confession part always like threw me off. I was like, I can't do that.
See, for me, the confession is like, dude, how cool that I get to help these people get close to God's grace.
That aspect.
For me, it's the Eucharist thing. Like, I don't even want to be a Eucharistic minister, dude. I don't feel, you know.
I had to wash my hands like 3 times before Mass.
Sorry, but you want to say something?
Oh no, because like kind of going off of what you guys were saying about like people using, I'm gonna call it an excuse because honestly I see it that way.
Yeah.
Using the excuse that, oh, I don't want to be a priest because I really want to be a dad. Literally one of the requirements and a big red flag of the oblates is if you don't want to be a dad, they'll actually like flag you and be like, whoa. I don't know if you're meant for this then.
That's good. I think that's very good.
Very good.
Not everybody's meant to be a priest. Yeah. And not everybody's meant to be
a dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was never the whole part where like, oh, I want to be a dad, so I'm not gonna be a priest. It was, I really don't want to sit down in confessionals, like, which is I don't know if that's a bad excuse. The priests are gonna listen to this and probably be like, listen, Alex, we need to sit down and talk for a second. But that was really the one that was I just couldn't wrap my mind around. Dude, can you? Mentally, I already struggle with things like anxiety and depression on my own. You know. Mm-hmm. Could I handle the stress of that? And I don't know if I could. And I know you're supposed to reach out to God for that, but I just don't think. I don't think I was at a place for that. Now, diaconate. Nah. This is a little thing that I'm gonna put out there. Sergio's gonna be held accountable now. But me and Sergio agreed that when we both were old enough to join the diaconate, we will both start taking the class.
And Eric. Throw Eric in there.
Is Eric in there? I think, and that's the thing. I think here's the deal with laymen that are fathers. When I think they should be willing to put that into the thing, you know, put their name in that hat to become a deacon, because that was way more common. Being a deacon was way more common, and
you think so?
Yeah, I don't see why it would be a bad thing.
I just don't want to be a priest lackey, dude. It's like either
I'm okay with that.
Either I'm the mob boss or I'm nothing.
I think part of it is I'm kind of already doing some of the things the deacon does, you know, like when you get around the Triduum. I'm already there for Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Easter Sunday.
Baptizing kids too?
Not yet, but I feel like that's the easiest part. Just hold the kid and pour water on his head.
Oh, I thought you dunked him in there.
That'd be hella funny. Hold him up, just like, all right.
Just slip, fumble.
Oh, they do that little baby flipping class where they float, you know. He did it in holy water first.
Yeah, nah, dude. I love some of our priests. There's two that I really like going to, because one, I really feel his mercy. Like sometimes I'll be confessing some things, and he's just like, "Can you do one Our Father for me?" And I'm like an overwhelming sense of like, "Come on, man, I need more." Like,
no, I get
but
you. Showing
me like God's mercy through that, you know, like that's it. Obviously, I need to make reparation if I've done anything, you know, that I can repair. And then there's the other ones that just. There's this other, I love him so much. He's all like, it sounds like all you're just wasting a bunch of time. You said that you struggle with prayer, but if you stop doing all these things and focus on prayer, you wouldn't be focusing that, you know? You wouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, he's like, 10 Hail Marys, 10 Our Fathers. I'm like,
damn. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Lord, with all my heart.
Yeah. No.
Wait, what's active contrition? How does it start?
Oh my God, I'm hardly sorry for having
convicted. So many verses.
I think I only know that off the back of my head because me and confession have been really, really close lately. Like it's kind of ridiculous, but it's gotten to the point where I feel bad going to confession all the time in Madeira because I'd be there a little bit too often, and these priests would be like, "Dude, what the hell is wrong with you?" A lot. So I started going to confession at other parishes too, if I got the chance. It's that one thing, don't walk to confession, run. So looking up on the app, where's confession today? Finding the nearest confession. And I kind of enjoy it because I get to hear the different priest perspectives.
Yeah.
There was one priest in Kerman, and I went to confession.
Oh, dude, the African priest.
Oh my gosh, he was
so
awesome.
good.
He was in there and he was like, I see you. There's no more sin. You are surrounded by angels and God's Spirit as He lifts you up with His forgiveness. And he just gives me he paints this image of me being forgiven. And I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome. I've never felt so good to be forgiven. And then you go to another parish and he's like, you need to stop doing this. Why are you doing it?
St. John's
You need to do
Cathedral?
better. No, this was St. Teresa, the little flower, the little shrine. He's like, you're better than this. Talk to this person. They'll be mad at you at first, but then they'll appreciate what you're saying. And I was like, damn, all right. And then you got Father James. Why are you doing this?
He's like, was that it?
You know what you're supposed to do.
Father James.
Stop doing that. Oh, gosh. And then you get, I used to be really good at opening the curtain, right? And just having that moment where you're like, I'm looking the dude in the face and I have to be sorry here. And I have to really show my sincere, what is it?
Your
Contrition.
sincerity, yeah.
Contrition, yeah. And I stopped doing that for a while. I can't put a finger on why, but I did. And then I went to confession, and you remember Ethan from TOB? Okay, this kid was in front of me in the confession line, and he was so happy to see me. And we were talking quietly, of course, and we're just figuring out what's going on with each other. He's asking me, hey, like, what are you saying? I'm like, just
Ethan's
telling him.
such a cool kid.
He's such a good guy, man. Honestly, he has so much potential to be such a great man in our parish, and I hope he keeps going to church.
That dude's built too.
Dude, he's ripped. And then he won Homecoming King. He wasn't even going to go to the game. This guy, he said I was going to go to gym, but I decided to show up because my friends were there and I won. And I was like, that's crazy.
Dude, the
and
humble guy doesn't even know he's the guy.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he wins Homecoming King. Get this. And then he pulls up to the gym after because he's like, oh, yeah, I left my stuff here after I worked out. I could not believe it. So we were talking in the confession line. And he's like, yo, do you like open the curtain? I'm like, I used to, but I haven't done it in a while. But you really get a better connection with the priest. Like, and
You feel the judgment.
yeah, you feel better. I think you have a better sense of apologizing because you're actually doing it face to face. He's like, I think I'm going to do it. I'm like, yeah, you're going to do it? He's like, yeah. Do you want to do it? And I told him, if you do it, I'll do it. What do you know? He goes in there, opens the curtain, and as he's coming out after his confession, you can tell he's
Like,
happy.
lit up,
He did it. He felt good. He's like, make sure you open the curtain. I was like, all right, bro. So I open the curtain, have one of the best confessions I've had in a long time.
Beautiful.
And get out, close the door, and I look at him and I'm like, thank you, bro. I really needed that. But yeah, the confession has just been amazing. And I'm glad I could keep going and keep doing that whole running to confession, not walking, because I need it,
Yeah.
It's definitely
First
taught
time I
me.
heard that was Father Gustavo, man. I love that.
Yeah. It's a great saying. I think I sent you that meditation from that Meditating with the Church Fathers book.
Oh, yeah.
Where
yeah.
it really just opens up. Like, Jesus is always going to be merciful. Don't get me wrong. Like, don't keep doing the same stupid stuff and not... Because eventually you're not going to feel sorry. That's the scary thing I've been worried about lately is, like, if I keep doing the same stupid stuff, I'm starting to slowly not feel as bad right after. And I'm like, you know that's wrong. Why are you doing that? You know?
Then you treat confession like a get-out-of-free jail card, you know?
And so I've always been like
I'll be bad Sunday night to Saturday morning, confess Saturday, be good from Saturday all the way till I go to Mass, and then Sunday.
And then free to do whatever I want. Yeah.
I found that routine a couple
That's a
times
very
in my life,
scary thing. So now what I do is I'm like, dude, you're going to church this day. You're going to church this day. And I spread out when I'm going to church. So I'm like, you really don't have an opportunity to screw around anymore.
Yeah.
You can't mess up because there's not confession between here and there.
Yeah. That's
not
why
a
if you have the
confession between there.
opportunity to go to daily Mass, like go, man.
It's
It'll keep
yeah.
you consistent.
I started cantering on Thursdays at 7 a.m. The most humbling experience for a Mass because I think I sound like crap.
Yeah.
I really think I sound like crap. And
What's cantering?
it's when you sing.
Oh,
You're the one leading the
man.
songs. Yeah.
That's
I've never
scary,
had to
dude.
practice singing a song. I go to the gym, change, and go straight to the church. So on my way from the gym to church, I practice every song
do
I'm going
that
to sing. That's my
vocal
warm up.
workout
Oh,
after.
yeah. I'm warming up every song. And, man. Gosh, it's something
humbling,
else. Yeah, it's humbling because I really don't. I have run half marathons, but I'm out of breath after the first verse
Yeah.
of those songs because I'm still getting used to pacing myself with the songs and stuff.
And I think we've all done it when someone like messes up on you know a note or like they don't hit the right pitch. Like we all do the
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
Like
me with
this
the
guy.
amen. I get the
And-
amen
but
wrong.
we don't know what it's like to be up there, man.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you do.
I do now. And the Gloria is scary. So I'll be sitting there. I had to do the Gloria this past Saturday because it was the feast of the dedication of the Lateran Basilica. And they're like, Father looks at me, Alex, we're doing the Gloria today.
Which one's the Gloria again?
Glory to God. I'm not even gonna keep singing it. I'm gonna stop. I already hate how it sounds. That one.
Okay.
He's like, you have to sing that. And I'm like, all right, Father. And so he does his prayer. He looks at me, and I start singing it, and I am out of breath after the first two lines. I'm catching up. Finally get my heart rate down by about halfway through, and I'm able to calmly sing the rest.
He's
But
all
it was
singing like,
I'm
in
like,
a peace.
I'm like measuring. I'm looking at my watch, like why I'm at 1:30. This is bad. So yeah, it was very humbling. Cantering though, I think I'm starting to see the benefits. I love going to daily mass now. Going Thursdays is such a benefit. I go on Wednesday sometimes with my girlfriend, and that's cool because it's Spanish, so we don't really understand the readings sometimes. We'll have to look them up after, but like we understand the prayers. We understand what's going on otherwise.
Well, that's the beauty of the mass. Even if you
Yeah.
don't understand the language, like
You know what's
you will
going
follow
on.
along, and yeah.
You'll figure it out. And so I like that. So Wednesday nights, Thursday mornings, and Saturday afternoons are when I go to mass. And yeah, I'm starting to become more appreciative of all the availability of the sacraments because it's very nice. You know?
Yeah, dude. It makes you think of other countries that don't have that freedom.
Even adoration. Like, our church does not have it like it should. We
Yeah,
really need to have
the
it perpetual like we used to.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID perpetual was awesome. But
I remember that we're starting something, but nothing ever happened with that.
No.
But you know what? Like we're still blessed to have.
Yes.
What is it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday and Thursday in the small chapel, Wednesday in the main church.
Yeah, I mean that's, and then we see him on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, so that's 4 days, 4 out of 7.
Yeah. I went to Kerman, and St. Patrick's has a adoration during confessions on Friday evening. So you go in there, and the whole church, they have monstrance in the middle, and the whole church is just there for adoration. It's beautiful. So as you're going to confession, coming out, you got adoration. And then there was it was Our Lady of Perpetual Help today, actually. I went to confession there, and the confessionals are in the chapel. So you go in. It's a very small chapel, about the size of this room, actually. And yeah, the Eucharist is there, and you're able to pray. They have Gregorian chant playing,
I love that.
and so you're really just
You're in it, huh?
yeah, you're in that. It's amazing. So yeah, the faith is something that just it's always there. It's always there, and you don't have to worry about it.
So pray for the president.
Yes,
Pray for the people that we disagree with.
yes,
I would say and agree with.
and agree
because
with. Yeah,
There's we also have the right extremists.
very much so. And you also have the people on the right who are new to being on the right.
Yeah.
You know, they're coming to learn all these things, and then they experience the hate from the left,
Yeah.
and they're not used to it, and it hurts them a lot. So pray
Or
for
the way
them.
that they react to him, it can be, you know.
Yeah.
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 And then what was the other one?
Did I get to a third one? I don't think I got to a third one. What would I say
We
is
just
the
completely
third
went off
one?
topic.
It
It was don't fall for their traps, I think.
yeah, probably don't fall for the lies. Always be willing to look
Have
up.
a conversation.
Well, not that, just look up stuff. They may
Yeah.
say something, you're like, is that true? Look it up, find the context.
Yeah.
They might be right. There's times I've had conversations with people about immigration. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. That shouldn't have happened, or that's wrong. I don't agree
Yeah.
with that. DACA being one of the things. Like, I really don't.
Yeah. Find common ground.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It's out there if you're willing to look for it,
Yeah.
but you have to look for it. And it's pretty tough.
Yeah. But all right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming again.
Dude,
And
I love coming on the podcast. This is awesome.
hopefully we'll have never mind, I'll just keep that comment to myself. Do you want to do closing prayer?
Oh, dude, yeah. Let me just take off my hat. Growing out the locks again.
Nice. Don't do that, Bunda.
No, we're not going that far. We're not going that far. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, God, for guiding us through this podcast and allowing the Holy Spirit to speak, hopefully, through us. Continue to guide Diego and Christian as they continue to develop this podcast, and allow it to be a way for others to come to Christ and to find fellowship with each other. We ask this through the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Thank
Praise
you,
be
bro.
Jesus Christ.
Now and forever.
All right, buddy. Thank
Take
you.
care.